This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
One second. Yeah. I was putting the video that Warlord wanted me to react to on the notes. Hold on, I got Mike's a little hot. Welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Well, since that's the only reason you're here, and I know you're sleepy, should we just go ahead and do it? You're not gonna say. I was gonna start with Trump and then move to Congress. Representative Mike Collins. I don't even know where this motherfucker's from. Representative Mike Collins. I got a bone to pick first. Why is it that somebody will come to your TikTok and comment on your video without ever watching it? It was weird that somebody like tried to correct me in the comments. But if they had watched the video, they wouldn't have felt the need to correct me. It's a minute long. It's TikTok, man. Seriously, you don't have the attention span to watch a minute-long TikTok? I weep for the world that we live in now. Holy shit. It's a wild news day. Remember, tomorrow, Election Day. We're going to have election coverage. Wednesday night is the third GOP presidential primary debate. So, packed week this week. But tonight, we got a packed show for you. I said that a Florida sheriff's office was giving away a gun last night. I'm sorry. I apologize. I've actually got that story for you tonight. A roofing company in Florida is giving away a gun and a turkey. This is their Thanksgiving special. I'm sure these stories are not related, but a real skull was found for sale at a Florida thrift store. Remember we did the semi-truck in Utah that barreled through traffic? Hit 33 cars. That was quite possibly the wildest story that I have covered involving a tractor trailer until tonight. Apparently an 18-wheeler in Texas led police on a multi-hour chase. We've got wild footage out of California where a home invader was shot by the homeowner. The Highland Park shooter's dad has pled guilty in court. Speaking of shooters, Steven Crowder leaked the manifesto of the shooter in the Covenant School in Nashville. Oh boy. We're gonna talk about all that. Flash, Snicks, good evening. Who are we debating? Mitochondria, DJ Dub, good evening. Base Chowda. Representative Mike Collins is a representative from Georgia. Before we get to the hard news, but Warlord's been waiting on this. So let's go ahead. I have no clue what this is about. Warlord just sent me a PM and said I want a live reaction to this video. So, live reaction to this video of Representative Mike Collins. Looks like he is out in front of the Capitol building. Is the news Gimp? Welcome clinically. Once again, no clue, no pre-watch Andy.
Support you wearing black socks.
What? He condemned. He condemned the man's black socks. What the hell? Twitter fucking up. Of course. It's been having some problems this evening.
And I do not support you wearing black socks with short pants.
I need something robust, precise.
Sig Sauer P226, Sig Sauer 320, L Sig Sauer P365.
We'll provide that information. Will it be like this or will it be a real number? Will it be like that? All of that, will it be a real number?
Non-human spacecraft.
Sir, Deep's got her flag. I've got my uniform.
That's my quant. My quantitative. My math specialist. Look at him.
$4.6 trillion over 10 years.
May God bless my money printer.
$1.6 trillion and $3 trillion to the deficit.
Jim Comer subpoenaed the FBI for those documents, threatening Director Wray with contempt of Congress, and still no documents produced.
The form that they provided me was heavily redacted with specific...
What's up, guys?
I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on the possibility of a 7-day CR. That idea has been floated as a way to keep the government open and find a path forward here.
We'll see.
It's disgusting. What's disgusting about Washington?
And they're lying.
Who the hell do you think that you are?
It's allowed to have a minority day of hearings.
What in the hell?
It's a great answer to a question that I didn't ask.
You're not resigning?
No, I'm not resigning.
I'm not leaving.
That is not a number.
You disagree with that number. That is the number.
Time to move on to something else.
Do you believe that we should place a ban on spoons?
I don't think spoons should be regulated.
I'm going to get on my unicorn and ride it to a pool to visit my mermaid that was financed by a leprechaun.
Can you help lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results? Will you?
Next question.
This has not only been retweeted by United States Representative Mike Collins of Georgia, it was apparently produced by his staff. Was this an attempt? What was his name? The editor that, guy, I haven't seen one of his videos in a while, to come to think of it. Who was the guy that always used to make the funny Vic Berger? This was like, can you make a Vic Berger style video promoting me? I think the Democrats should retweet this. I think the Democrats should share this out because that was nuts. I don't think that made any of the Republicans in the video look good. Such hip, very meme. How do we reach these kids? That's the only thing I could assume was like he looked at his comms person was like, can you make a video that's in the style of Vic Berger? Warlord, I don't think any drugs were done while putting this together, because if they were doing drugs, it might have been good. I feel like I shouldn't even show. I've got meme of the day ready to go, but I feel like what's even the point? After that whole Representative Meme Collins is what that was. I want to be a meme. He doesn't quite know what a meme is. This is my team. As conference vice chair, I'll always be in my team's corner, fighting to amplify our message, break through the noise, and win big for America. What did anybody come away with that thinking that spoons and black socks, that's the only thing? Spoon man. Spoons and black socks. Usually I'm covering the most absurd shit in politics, but I don't know if I've got anything after that. What do the comments? I got. Have you done anything else to improve this country other than have staff make memes that appease to ninth grade? That doesn't make sense. Libertad, good evening. For everyone reading this, call your member of Congress, demand Mike Collins for vice chair. For God's sake, we need this man in power. That video made you think that was a dude that we need in power. Deregulate spoons. Representative George Santos chimes in and says, impressive. Great video. Are conservatives the new punk rock? Not a great video. And no, they are not. Apparently that video made Will Russell think we are back, baby. Your team is somewhere between a fever dream and a night terror. Another Republican politician more interested in putting on a show than they are in governing. The U.S. congressman staffer was paid to make this and post it on an official government account. Yep, that happened. Just gonna pack it up. Show's over for tonight. I got nothing. Good night, Warlord. Sweet dreams. That ran everybody off. I don't know. I'm speechless. Oh. Here's your meme of the day. Cats in the Middle Ages, hardworking, went to church, walked on hind legs, contributed to society. Cats now, they are lazy and ungrateful. They are atheists, too lazy to walk on their hind legs. I know this to be a fact. There's one like asleep right here. Another one asleep right there. I bet there's one asleep in the bedroom in there. Lazy cats all over this fucking house. He absolutely was laying over there asleep. Lazy atheist that refused to walk on your hind legs. Hey, don't knock the microphone down. I don't know. I'm going to have to get a new mic stand or something. Like this one is. First of all, the XLR cord that is run inside the mic arm totally went out on me, has a short. So I had to run another XLR cable. It's just kind of down here beside my desk. Because I guess I have to cut it and then pull it out. And then if I want it to go through the mic arm the way this one does, I'll have to like I don't even fucking remember the word for it now. It's been so long since I've done any engineering. Put the end back on it. Maybe I'm getting dumber or some shit. I don't know. That's possible too. But then, like, I look at the media landscape and I see people like Tim Pool. I hear Trump talk and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not so dumb after all. I may not be as smart as I used to be. I will check out Clifford the Big Red Cat. I'm not familiar with the Big Red Cat. Familiar with the Big Red Dog. Go from talking about the big red dog to the big orange dog, shall we? Donald Trump complained of unfair treatment in a defiant and rambling testimony on the witness stand at the civil fraud trial at his New York business on Monday, prompting the judge at one point to threaten to cut his testimony short. Under questioning about his company's accounting practices, the former U.S. president clearly aggravated Judge Arthur Engoron, who is weighing whether to impose hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and other penalties that could hobble the real estate empire that vaulted Trump to prominence. Engoron warned Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican nomination in the 2024 election, that he might remove him from the witness stand if he did not answer questions directly. Can you control your client? Engoron asked Trump's lawyer, Christopher Keiss. This is not a political rally. This is a courtroom. Trump's testimony wrapped up in mid-afternoon. His daughter Ivanka is due to testify on Wednesday, though she is not a defendant in the case. Over roughly 4 hours on the witness stand, Trump often avoided direct answers, instead bragging about his properties and his wealth. He accused the New York Attorney General Letitia James, an elected Democrat, of targeting him to further her political career and accused Engoron of lowballing the value. Ron, good evening. Of lowballing the value of his properties. I think this case is a disgrace. Many people are leaving New York because of exactly this kind of thing, he said. It's election interference because you want to keep me in the courthouse. Once again, he did not have to be there. I assume he had to be there if he wanted to testify, but he was not required to be at this trial. Both Engoron and Trump repeatedly raised their voices as the judge sought to prevent Trump from using the court to air his grievances. I'm not here to hear what he has to say. I'm here to hear him answer questions. Sit down already, Engoron told Alana Habba, another one of Trump's lawyers. Let's hear from Elena, who apparently went off on the judge outside of the courtroom earlier today.
Are you concerned by the judge's statement that President Trump's longer answers that he draws negative?
Oh, you think I'm loco? Buddy, I'm not dumb enough to vote for Trump. Just throwing that out there.
So let's be clear about why the judge said that. The judge doesn't like when President Trump explains what actually happened because it's not good for his narrative. This is a judge who clearly has an issue. If you've seen his behavior with me, you've seen his behavior with the president today. He has a clear issue with facts that are not good for the case because he already predetermined. And I want
No, he has a clear issue with people that are full of shit in his courtroom.
I want everyone to understand. This is, yes, we do not have a jury. Yes, we do not have a lot of things that we should because they brought it under Section 6312. But this judge decided this case in liability before we walked up those stairs. I didn't have a shot. So right now we're sitting here.
Ron, my friend, would you like to tell us why you would like to vote for Trump in 2024? Will you explain it to us? Because I am lost. I am lost as to why anyone would think that that incompetent buffoon to be anywhere near the levers of power. I will put up the phone number. I will put up the because Ron is a cuck. That's a good answer. 917-830-4359. Please call in and tell us why you want to vote for Trump, because it is mind-boggling to me. Indict the judge for what? The right-wingers say the dumbest shit, man. I don't get it. Ball washer. Well, I mean, around here we like to kick authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
So perhaps Ron would like to shine them all up real nice and pretty for us before we kick them in the balls. For what, Ron? What are we indicting the New York State government for? Danielle, good evening. What are we indicting the judge? Because you don't like that your precious little Trump is being prosecuted. I hear right-wing lawfare. I hear idiot right-wingers throw that around a lot. What the fuck do you even mean by that? Like, I know in a colloquial sense what lawfare means, but I hear right-wingers say it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Please call in and tell us, Ron. I want to know why the fuck you would vote for this incompetent piece of shit. The one that tried to overturn fucking democracy. What does it fighting fire with fire? Trump is guilty, you dumb shit. Do you understand? Trump is guilty of all the crimes he has been accused of and many more that he has not been charged with. The idea that you're fighting fire with fire is stupid. Yes, we have a two-tier justice system in this country where Trump has been able to get away with his crimes for far too long. I've said it so many times here on this stream. They tried their best not to prosecute him. That's what's so crazy to me about idiot-ass right-wingers. Oh, it's a witch hunt. They did their best to not prosecute him for fucking anything. They tried. He is so incompetent and so belligerent. He gave them no option but to prosecute him. We do indeed have a two-tier justice system in this country. Because if I had done a fraction of what Trump had done, I would have been in jail years ago. Biden crime family, what the fuck does that even mean?
Come on, man.
We go over it every night here on this stream, my friend. The right-wingers keep saying, like, oh, he took $40,000. Are you fucking stupid? A former president can get a book deal for millions of dollars. They could charge $40,000 for one speaking engagement. You think Joe Biden sold out the country for 40 grand? Are you stupid? Seriously, just taking the Republican claims at face value, it's absurd. It's absurd. But, like, I can't help it. Like, you have a belief. And there's no amount of evidence that I can show you to get you to come off of that belief. So, hey, enjoy living in fantasy world. Fair enough, clinically, fair enough. You're also clinically insane. Back to Trump's lawyer, Huma Abedin. What? Yes. Yes, dumb shit. Anybody that says anything that conflicts with your worldview is actually paid by George Soros. And you probably think you're not anti-Semitic. Holy shit, you dumb motherfucker. Do I look like I'm paid by anybody? Elena Haba explodes on the New York City judge in the Trump fraud case.
By the judge's statement that President Trump's longer answers that he draws negative.
So let's be clear about why the judge said that. The judge doesn't like when President Trump explains what actually happened because it's not good for his narrative. This is a judge who clearly has an issue. If you've seen his behavior with me, you've seen his behavior with the president today. He has a clear issue with facts that are not good for the case because he already predetermined, and I want everyone to understand, this is, yes, we do not have a jury. Yes, we do not have a lot of things that we should because they brought it under Section 6312. But this judge decided this case and liability before we walked up those stairs. I didn't have a shot. So right now we're sitting here doing a whole dance and the only thing they want are facts that are bad for Trump. That's why he's silencing him. That's why he's telling him short answers. And that's why he's clearly enraged. His face is red. He came in hot and he doesn't know how to handle him.
Knowing the judge is the one who decided penalties, and you urge your client, President Trump, to keep his answers more concise based on the judge's verdict.
If my client was worried about people's penalties on him, and that's supposed to silence his right to free speech and his right to take a stand and explain, then I wouldn't want to represent him. My client's done nothing wrong. His answer should be full, and if they try and silence him, the record will reflect that, and we'll deal with it on appeal.
He has multiple gag orders. There is one in this case.
So
we're up to at least 20 grand. It might be more that he has already fined judge, or that the judge has already fined Trump in this case.
Everything is done strategically. I can't get into that. The truth of the matter is, the fifth was done in EUO, which is a special proceeding. Once they brought the case, we decided it was better to fight the facts. But frankly, I never thought that she would bring the case because once you see what his actual values are, you see that there's no there there. But you know, she gets a lot of attention from this. You all are sitting out here. She comes out. She calls him a liar. I mean, this is third world stuff. You're not allowed to run before you even know what somebody's company is, before you even know what their financials are, and call someone a liar and call them a fraud and base your politics on this. Miss James would not be the Attorney General but for President Trump. Let's be very clear about that. That might hurt her a little bit, but that's the facts. Facts hurt. That's why she wasn't a good governor. She didn't make governor. She didn't even come close. She used this case as a cover. Numbers don't lie, Miss James.
And they spell disaster and sacrifice.
75% chance of winning, and then add 66 and 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
Ron blocked you on YouTube? What the fuck? Comes to my channel running his cocksucker and then blocks you? What? Probably blocked me too. Came to my channel, was running his mouth. Like, ooh, I'm gonna block him. I can't get out of my echo chamber here. Right-wingers are wild, man. So that was the civil case in New York City where Trump is being charged with fraud. Meanwhile, new court documents issued today in the January 6th case. I had to think of the federal January 6th case. Jack Smith says, alone in American history, prosecutors urged judge to deny Trump's bid to dismiss the D.C. charges. In new court documents, the special counsel articulated his clearest case yet for Trump's prosecution for election subversion. Special counsel Jack Smith argued Monday that Donald Trump's bid to subvert the 2020 election was far from a case of misplaced advocacy or constitutionally protected speech, and he urged the federal judge presiding over Trump's Washington, D.C. trial to sweep aside Trump's bid to sanitize his conduct. The defendant attempts to rewrite the indictment, claiming that it charges him with wholly innocuous, perhaps even admirable conduct, sharing his opinions about election fraud and seeking election integrity. This is according to Assistant Special Counsel James Pierce when in fact it clearly describes the defendant's fraudulent use of knowingly false statements as weapons in furtherance of his criminal plans. In a 79-page filing, Smith's team articulated its clearest case yet for Trump's prosecution, repeatedly characterizing Trump's false claims of election fraud as knowing lies aimed at defrauding election officials, from secretaries of state and governors to his own vice president, Mike Pence. Smith also indicated he intends to introduce evidence in Trump's March trial that Trump stoked the January 6, 2021 riot at the Capitol and then used it to further his efforts to derail Congress's proceedings that day. Prosecutors say they will rely on Trump's promise to pardon many of the rioters, his description of the January 6 as a beautiful day, and his decision to record a song with some of the violent offenders imprisoned in the Washington, D.C. jail. Trump recorded a song? Can somebody get on this for me? Was there a song that Trump recorded? The filings were a rebuttal to Trump's own efforts to dismiss the indictment, which charges him with mounting a sweeping campaign to pressure state and local officials to throw out Joe Biden's victory in closely fought swing states. That campaign of deceit, they say, continued with Trump's effort to assemble false slates of presidential electors, which Pierce contended were meant merely to provoke the pretext of a controversy when Congress met to count the votes on January 6th. The defendant stands alone in American history for his alleged crimes. No other president has engaged in conspiracy and obstruction to overturn valid election results and illegitimately retain power. Trump had argued that his exhortations to state officials were merely advocacy based on his fervent, and I'm sure he did not use those words, based on his fervent belief that the election was stolen from him. Prosecutors said this contention is belied by Trump's repeated specific claims of fraud that were repeatedly discredited by his own advisors. And he used those lies, they said, to obstruct the government's effort to certify the election. And you know what? One of those advisors actually gave an interview last night on 60 Minutes. And I would like to listen to it. John Eastman. The criminalization of the law. The criminalization of the law. I'm astounded. I'm astounded by people like Eastman. I'm astounded by people who are still willing. Ah, fuck. Did 60 Minutes get me taken down? That's probably what happened. Are we no longer on YouTube? I'm playing with fire too. I've already got a strike right now. Everything looks good. I'm not getting any kind of not getting any kind of message or anything. Stream suspended for policy violations. Well, shit. Yeah, it was 60 Minutes that got me. Oh, whoa. Did I just come back? We back? Apparently it re-enabled me. Is everybody back now? These nuts! I apparently didn't get a strike. They apparently just took the 60-minute section out. It looks like they let me back on, so cool. Guess it wasn't a strike. Sorry about that. I kind of had that feeling that 60 Minutes might come after me, but I figured it would just be, they would claim it and it would get blocked afterwards. I didn't expect it to take me down like that. So cool. Glad everybody's back. Awesome. I didn't really get a lot of Eastman anyway. Most of the piece was them doing the recap of what happened on January 6th and talking to Pence's lawyer. I really wanted to see Eastman incriminate himself. That's what I was hoping for. Remember our friend Ron that was in here earlier? Talking his Trump 2024 bullshit. I wanted him to call in or Discord and explain to us exactly what it is about Trump that he likes. Now, I've got my own suspicions that people just like Trump because he makes the liberals mad. They don't really have a policy they support. He makes the libs go ree. That's why they're all about the Trump. But I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm willing to change my views. So let's hear from some Republicans about why they are still supporting Donald Trump in 2024.
There is nobody that can help us more than Trump can.
Help us do what? What is Trump helping us do?
Would rather have a presidential nominee who's not been indicted or who has not been convicted.
People aren't willing to say something against Trump for fear of losing their party votes.
The era of Trumpism has moved to an even darker phase.
Well, see, that's the thing, Tones, is they will tell you that you paid for too much for gas because of Biden. They will tell you that's Biden doing that.
Come on, man.
Has nothing to do with Trump's economic policy. They'll tell you that Biden is leading us into World War III. It has nothing to do with Trump emboldening Israel. The Abraham Accords, no.
President in legal peril.
I am willing to go to jail if that's what it takes.
And yet, he still remains the leading Republican candidate for next year's presidential elections. The conservative movement is split between a majority loyal to Trump
Let's go, Donald Trump!
and a minority looking for a way out.
Would you vote for Trump in a general election?
I don't know.
And with the party in disarray, what will the consequences be?
Oh, gas goes up during election years when the billionaires that run the gas companies want to see a change in the... That's another thing. It's clear the billionaires that run the economy would rather have Trump in office. And they're going to... It seemed like they've been trying to cause a recession since Biden got into office. And the economy has actually proved to be incredibly resilient. Amazingly enough. Now we're faced with, Putin is going to want Trump in office. Netanyahu is going to want Trump in office. So what? Because we got reports this past week that White House officials are trying to get Ukraine to see what kind of a peace deal they can negotiate with Russia. There's behind the scenes talk of trying to come to a peace agreement. But what incentive does Putin have for a peace agreement if he wants to make sure that Trump is back in office? What agreement, what leverage does Biden have to get Bibi to do a fucking ceasefire if Bibi wants Trump back in office? That's another. Saudi Arabia not very happy with Biden. And they are one of the, OPEC is one of the main factors in the price per barrel of gas. There's a lot of, and I'm no Biden fan by any means. I'm a leftist. Biden is far too liberal for me. Far too close to a right-wing nut. And is that Marjorie Taylor Greene in the middle of this crowd? Makes a good case to not have Trump back in office, but we're not exactly the ones to make that case. We're not exactly the ones to. I mean, we're gonna have to get out and vote. And my problem with Biden right now is by not. There are several people that are like, oh, you can piss off the left. They're gonna vote Democrat anyway. I saw it on Twitter today, and I'm like, no, they're not. They're not gonna vote for Trump. They're gonna stay home, and that's a problem. I do not have any local elections tomorrow. We're going to be covering Election Day, though. We got the governor's race in Kentucky. We've got the legislature in Virginia. We got the ballot initiative in Ohio and a couple of other races we're going to be paying attention to. We will have election coverage tomorrow. Anyway, back to Republicans and why they still support Trump.
As we enter election season.
This is President Trump's party. Yep, thank you.
President Trump's party. This is from The Guardian, by the way.
We've come to South Carolina, one of the early voting primary states, where polls say Trump holds a commanding lead. We're heading out to meet some people at the Greenville County GOP, which is the largest Republican party in the whole of South Carolina. And it's been taken over by a far-right Trumpist insurgency. Its state executive committeeman is Jeff Davis, who openly expresses disdain for so-called rhinos.
Everett Hadley, rhino, censure me.
Meaning Republican in name only.
Oliver?
Hey.
Jeff Davis.
How you doing?
Glad you're here.
South Carolina, Trump country.
It is Trump country. They're reporting South Carolina is between, what, Teflon and titanium as in regards to Trump. So.
Which one is it? I feel like titanium is a bit stronger than Teflon.
I think it would be titanium. Though.
Yeah.
So.
Have you got a photograph of the two of you together?
Yeah. You got the picture with Donald Trump in the rally on March 3rd? So she actually was more excited because Laura Trump was there. So she's more into the fashion than what the ladies do. So I was a fan of Donald Trump from the book, The Art of the Deal.
The book you didn't write.
From Apprentices. The Apprentice.
Although the Republican primary hasn't even started yet, most people here.
And that's the problem. We're a fan of Trump from The Art of the Deal and The Apprentice, which is a highly curated, both instances, the book and the TV show, highly curated to make Trump look like something he is not. And he probably didn't even read it. Yep. He just thought it made him sound smart to say, like, oh, I was a fan of him from the book. Biden should definitely start, like, legal weed and student loan forgiveness is the whole tied up in the courts deal. Fucking federally legalized weed. You got to do something, Biden, to get the youth vote energized. I suggested that back in the 2014 midterm. I was suggesting that the Democrats run on legal weed or they were going to get stomped.
Express an undying loyalty to one man and to the many conspiracy theories that surround his candidacy.
There is nobody, in my mind, there is nobody that can help us more than Trump can. I do wish the Republican candidates would just get behind him.
Have you read any of the indictments? Yeah.
I have not read it personally. I have gotten my information from different news sources, a number of different news sources. My favorite is Real America's Voice. That's my favorite.
A lot of people are quite disturbed by that, all around the world, also here.
Disturbed that he's indicted?
Disturbed that he still has that level of support despite all of these indictments.
Well, because these indictments There's nothing in any of these indictments. They're indicting him on things that are perfectly legal.
You told him to find him some votes. That's what you told him, wasn't it?
Oh, fine. He can say that. I mean, you know, he can. So what?
Make up votes.
He didn't say make up votes.
Falsify
He
votes.
said find some votes. Check this thing out.
So I watched the clip from the Patriot last night, and I found out where "hold the line" comes from. So that's our new expression. We're holding the line. They're beautiful.
Are they functional?
Of course they are.
So you haven't listened to that tape or read any of the indictments or anything?
No,
like that?
because there's no benefit to me, because the people who are behind it are people I don't trust. I don't think he's a criminal. I don't think he would hurt our country. Being attacked by your political adversaries is not unusual. I mean, it happened to Nelson Mandela, it happened to Martin Luther King, it happened to Gandhi.
A lot of people in the country find it quite chilling. They find it pretty.
Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, and MLK would all be horrified that you just compared them to Trump.
Scary.
Well, I'm sure they're all Democrats and right. so, you know, what do you expect? Yeah.
You're asking questions based on a false premise. So, what is it that you really want?
Me?
Yeah.
I just want to ask questions.
Do you want the truth?
Yeah. Sure.
You do. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear what you guys think.
So
yeah.
you know who is the truth? There is one person that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jesus.
Okay. Who said that? Okay.
Put down.
Some here are sympathetic to the far-right wing of the state Republican Party, a local freedom caucus, which has pushed some of the harshest local legislation in the country. I'll ask you very specifically about one piece of legislation that a number of people in that caucus backed, which is changes to abortion laws here. And the idea that women who get abortions should be prosecuted for homicide and could face the death.
The freedom cock. The freedom.
I support it in the sense of I think we ought to have, I would like to see South Carolina as the most conservative state in the nation.
So you would support the death penalty for a woman who took an abortion?
I don't know how it would be implemented, quite frankly.
That's totalitarian.
Wow.
That's going beyond really anything that exists inside the sort of regular parameters of any democratic state. That's totalitarianism.
I think people have a choice. You have a choice to practice safe sex and the such. So you have a choice, initially.
And Donald Trump is the only candidate running for president who you believe will embody those
You
sorts
live in
of extremes.
sexual anarchy.
I think Donald Trump, I hate to say those extremes, I think what Donald Trump is willing to do is actually speak out against the establishment.
Goldfish, you love cock, you say. I know a man who loves cock.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
I should not have made that. That was too far.
It's extremely dark. Extremely dark. I left with concerns that the group was stifling political debate. And in fact, a group of outcast conservatives, once part of this party, have formed their own independent group called the 4th District Republican Club. They invited us to come and meet them at a local Denny's.
I want to welcome you guys. I'm Linda Garner.
Hi, Linda.
4th District.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
I'm Oliver, this is Tom.
Yeah.
How you doing? Good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah.
Many here have been committed Republicans for decades.
A lot of people in this room were very active in the Greenville County Republican Party, and 2 years ago they got new leadership. Several of us didn't really feel welcome there.
That group a little bit too extreme for you?
Yes, a little bit extreme.
Do you think that's a consequence of Donald Trump? These guys are very, very loyal to him.
Yeah, I don't understand why there's that feeling is there.
Would you vote for Trump in a general election?
I don't know.
Their actions speak words.
Oh, you poor woman.
So, yeah.
A lot of volume.
A lot of volume. Yeah, absolutely.
I do appreciate you guys coming, and I went on your site today and read some of your publications and was very impressed.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Guardian does good work.
The group had invited a state Republican representative called Jason.
Oh, thank you, Goldfish.
He's also the first openly gay person to be elected to the legislature in South Carolina.
Some of those folks in the county GOP here are talking about absolute undying loyalty to Donald Trump. The idea that voting for anybody else is essentially disloyal. You must feel uncomfortable with that.
Well, that's not the way the Republican Party works, and that's not the way democracy with a little d works. If we were to subscribe to the viewpoint that it's disloyal and we need to coronate somebody, we might as well just cancel all the primaries. Elections are about the future, and if we relitigate the 2020 election, and if we relitigate January 6th, the Republicans are going to have a hard time regaining the White House.
Would you still vote for Donald Trump if he's the nominee then?
I'm voting.
I would hope that's the case, but unfortunately, it looks like a confluence of events is making a second Trump presidency far more likely than I am comfortable with. And that's a terrifying notion.
It's disloyal and we need to coronate somebody, we might as well just cancel all the primaries. Elections are about the future, and if we relitigate the 2020 election, and if we relitigate January 6th, the Republicans are going to have a hard time regaining the White House.
Would you still vote for Donald Trump if he's the nominee then?
I'm voting for the nominee of the Republican Party.
Jesus Christ. Vote principles, man, because I like, is Joe Biden not conservative enough for you? What the hell? That's in 2016, I encouraged all of my Republican friends. I was around a lot more back then because I worked in media. I actually worked at a TV station at the time. I was encouraging them, like, vote for Hillary. Like, she's far more in line with your principles. She loves capitalism. She's Ronald Reagan in a pantsuit that's okay with gay marriage. What the fuck, dude? Trump is a madman, but no.
So you would still vote for Donald Trump?
That sentiment was expressed by most people I spoke to here. And although this is a staunchly conservative part of the state, there are local Democrats trying to change that. In the nearby small town of Pickens, in an unusual move, Trump took over the entire downtown to hold a rally and left the county with almost $40,000 worth of bills. The local Democrats are led by Richard Byrd and Claiborne Linville, and they've actually increased their membership in recent years.
Are you ready, Richard?
I'm Richard.
Nice to meet you, Richard. I'm Oliver.
I'm Democrat on county council.
Hi, I'm Claiborne.
Presidential year, I tried to compare, apples to apples here, presidential year in 16 to 2020, and huge increase for us.
So the Trump era, in some respects, has kind of bolstered Democratic turnout in what is a pretty conservative part of the country.
Well, of course, you hate to give him credit for anything except maybe the wrongdoing, but yeah, I'm sure that's been a part of it.
Behind the courthouse where he spoke is a war memorial commemorating residents who were killed.
It's really frustrating, and it's certainly disrespectful to speak at a place so close to where these county residents are honored.
Do you think there are colleagues of yours on the council and in the county party who are fearful about actually expressing their honest opinions about Donald Trump?
I think so. I think in private I'm able to have open conversations with people that they can have with me that they will not say out loud. But I think part of the reason that his rally here has been paid for and brushed aside is because people aren't willing to say something against Trump for fear of losing their party votes.
We did not hold Richard Nixon accountable 50 years ago, and this is part of what's been wrought as a result of that. And if we don't hold this person accountable now, I can't even imagine how bad the next.
Don't get me started. It's not just Nixon. It's not just Nixon. We didn't hold Reagan accountable. We didn't hold W. Bush accountable.
Iteration of this kind of behavior for this nation and the effects, the ripple effect throughout the world will be. It's got to be done.
My last stop was a drive down to Charleston for a rally with Donald Trump. Merchandise branded with Trump's mugshot was selling fast.
That'll be 140. Come on, all shirts are $10, y'all. Medium, come on, honey, you act like you buying a car.
The Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has become a superstar at these events now, which are no longer really about the party, but about one man and the political and legal chaos that surrounds him. And she, like Trump, is claiming this primary is already over.
Just wanted to ask you, some reports
Kinda is
encouraging the rest of the Republican presidential primary field to drop out the race. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I think the American people are making it clear that they want President Trump back, so the debate's pretty much over. If you see
Hasn't been a single ballot cast in this primary yet, though.
see all the polling, you can ask, hey, are you guys supporting President Trump? President
Oh,
Trump?
yeah. We're at a Trump rally, so one would expect that. Basically, your position that this party is Trump's party, there's no room for debate, no room for discussion.
This is President Trump's party. Yep, thank you.
That's my president! Yeah! Let's go, Donald Trump!
Oh, that poor kid.
We're going to win that primary big. You know, we won the state twice by record numbers.
It's not really my job as a journalist to predict the outcome of elections, but during my time in South Carolina, I've seen very little evidence that anybody else has much of a chance of securing the nomination here. A lot of people are now saying the Republican Party has essentially become a cult personality around Donald Trump. It's becoming increasingly hard to find any evidence to suggest to the contrary.
I think he wins the primary, but whether he's on the ticket come November is a whole nother story. I've contended for years now that I think that Trump will be too encumbered with legal exposure to actually run in November. However, him becoming president seems to be his get-out-of-jail ticket. So I don't know if I stand behind that, because a normal person would, concentrate on their legal battles. But Trump is not a normal person. And there is not a doubt in my mind that Joe Biden is going to get more votes in 2024. Should it end, there are a lot of things that can happen between now and it's exactly a year. It's November 5th of next year. A lot of things can happen between now and exactly 1 year from now. Possible neither of them will be on the top of the ticket. Probably not likely. It's probably likely they both will be running, and it'll be a Trump-Biden matchup in 2024. I am certain, talking to you right now, that Joe Biden will get more votes than Trump. The problem is if Joe Biden still barely won the election by getting 8 million more votes, or almost 8 million more votes than Trump. It was decided by, 70,000 across 3 states? So the problem isn't that Joe Biden won't get as many votes as Trump. It's that Trump will win in the states that he needs to win and pull out another electoral victory. That's a very real possibility. I was pretty confident, 6 months ago, that, Joe Biden will cruise easily. He beat an incumbent. He has the advantage of incumbency. But man, there are a lot of factors. They're all converging right now to make it hard for Biden to win re-election. I don't know. Let's go to this news hit previewing the 2024 presidential race 1 year out.
It's your voice, your vote. The 2024 presidential election now just 365 days away. So we're going to give the state of the race a little bit of a closer look here. So let's start with this. Former President Donald Trump is the front runner for the Republican presidential nomination and looks strong against President Joe Biden in the latest polls. ABC's Rachel Scott is tracking the campaigns.
New warning signs for President Biden. A vast majority of Americans believe the country is on the wrong track, according to our latest ABC News Ipsos poll.
Well, see, that's the thing. The vast majority of Americans think the country is on the wrong track. I think the country is on the wrong track. I still would rather have Biden over Trump. And that's the thing. If you're new to the stream, I wanna make sure that you know that I'm probably going to vote for Biden, but if you don't, I'm not going to shame you on that. If you need to vote your conscience and vote Cornel West, a man that I've done everything I could to play as many clips as I can of him. if you feel you need to vote for Cornel West or RFK, I wouldn't advise that. I mean, I would implore you, if you live in Wisconsin, if you live in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, you should probably vote for Joe Biden, but I'm not going to hold it against you if you don't think that you can vote your conscience. The decisions that put Joe Biden in place to be the presidential nominee in 2024, those decisions were made 20 or 30 years ago at the local level. I'm more concerned with getting people involved in their county government and their city government and their state government and getting them to change the party from the ground up than I am who they're going to, because like so many commentators on YouTube and on Twitter, and I lost fucking friends. I've lost friends in 2016 and 2020. Don't lose friends over who you're voting for president. That's the least consequential of the votes you're going to cast. I don't want to vote shame anybody. If you don't like your choice of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, get involved locally. Unfortunately, it takes a long time to make the change. As I said, those decisions that put Biden in position to be president happened 20, 30, 40 years ago even. Absolutely, like, I'm almost certainly going to vote for Biden. But it doesn't matter in the state I'm in. I would rather have the Democrats in office than the Republicans, but you have to keep perspective. Don't lose friends over this shit. Don't get into arguments over who you're voting for president. Get involved locally. And I hate like Obama, like, go vote. I believe in electoral politics. I cover electoral politics here on the stream every fucking night. Voting is willful, it is not willful, is woefully inadequate. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. You have to protest. You have to pressure your Congress people. You have to vote locally, get involved locally. Venus, good evening. I want to see people, I don't want to see people become cynical about the presidential race and use that to not get involved in the Democratic Party at the local level. That's my problem, is I don't want cynicism to seep in. Cool, I understand if you're disenchanted with Biden. I get it, believe me, I do. But don't let that stop you from taking over the Democratic Party locally. Or if the Democratic Party isn't strong enough, start your own fucking party. Get involved with the DSA locally. Start your own DSA chapter. If all you got is libertarians, I've voted libertarian several times. I voted libertarian in 2012 against Obama because the Libertarian Party was the strongest party in the state that I was in. And I believe that the two-party system is a cancer. So it was a strategic vote that I was trying to help the Libertarian Party break that 5% threshold. They get more funding, they get more exposure. If I'd been in New York, I probably would vote DSA or Working Families Party or something. But just voting is not enough. We have to make calls, send emails to our congresspeople, our senators, our state and local representatives. Purgatorus, good evening. So sorry to go on that rant. That's my mission this election cycle. Try to keep people from cynicism and keep them from sitting it out. Mr. Beat actually not Mr. Beast. I made that same mistake. Mr. Beat, the history teacher, has a fantastic YouTube video about why ranked choice voting is actually not the best option. I forget what the name of the option they actually landed on was, but it's It's a different type of voting system. Ranked choice voting would probably be better than what we have, but it may not be the most ideal. And I encourage you to go watch that Mr. Beat video after the Troll Patrol, of course.
What's worse for Biden? Donald Trump is gaining ground in key battleground states. A New York Times Siena poll showing the former president is leading Biden in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. Trump, facing 91 felony charges, is still the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination, leading his GOP rivals too.
We are going to win the Florida primary for the third straight time. We're going to win the state in a landslide next November.
Nearly the entire Republican field all on one stage in Florida this weekend.
Thank you, Florida.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie heckled after insisting the party deserved better than Trump.
Your anger against the truth is reprehensible.
Other candidates, including the state's governor, Ron DeSantis, struggling to close the gap.
The brand of Republicans has become toxic, very difficult to attract people to the party. So Florida has shown the way forward for the Republican Party.
Even though Biden and Trump are the leading candidates in their party, our latest poll shows they're...
No, Mr. Beat. This is when Mr. Beast became a thing. I was like, oh, cool, the nerdy history teacher that I watched do presidential politics on YouTube is getting big. Nope. It's two different people. This is Mr. Beat. He does history videos. History, geography, economics, politics. He's a history teacher. He does like presidential facts and stuff. And when I was hearing like millions of views and shit blowing up, I'm like, Mr. Beat? Well, good. I'm glad people are getting interested in history. Nope. It's Mr. Beast. Now I can't unlearn who Mr. Beast is. I despise the it's separated about 100 million subs. Exactly. Joey, good evening. I really despise the whole YouTube culture. I'm hoping I'm going to be riding a wave of, they call it the next wave is going to be authenticity. But there has been, there's a million ripoff channels, right, of Mr. Beast. And I hate that you'll click on one YouTube video, oh, this seems interesting, and then they give you 50 fucking copycat videos of the same thing. I actually clicked on somebody's video the other day. It was about like Nickelodeon. But the video was actually about all of cable television. It was very interesting. I'm glad I clicked on it. But it had like a clickbaity title because I'd seen like a million videos about Nickelodeon and blah, blah, blah. Bunch of ripoff videos on YouTube. So glad I clicked on that video. I almost commented like, hey dude, your clickbaity headline and your thumbnail almost made me not click on this. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't remember the name of the channel now, but I subscribed, liked, and everything. I try after experiencing how rough YouTube is, I do my best to give out likes and go comment and help people with the algorithm for videos I appreciate. I hate the fake doing shit. I don't even know how to describe it. That's one of the things that gets me. Like, right wingers come in here and like, you don't have any views. I'm doing the exact opposite of what YouTube would want me to do if I was to get views. The exact fucking opposite thing. So that could be why I'm not blowing up on the internet. My apologies. Sorry, dumb fuck. I had one that watched at one of my stand-up videos from over 10 years ago. And was like, you had 15 people in the crowd. You're a failure. Okay, dude. Thank you for watching my stand-up video from 10 years ago. That's some wild clickbait there. But I was like, if you're trying to clickbait on YouTube, I wouldn't think that Sidney Powell would be something that would get a lot of clicks. I can tell you as a political streamer, it's not my political videos that get people. It's this culture war bullshit. That's why before we came on, I put up the video of the pastor that was outed as a. I don't want to misgender them. They were outed. I don't want to refer to them the wrong way. I thought they were a drag queen, but apparently they even referred to themselves as trans, but they weren't out. I clipped that for YouTube because politics isn't what gets me views. It's talking about a pastor beating the shit out of a Barbie house, or the fudge round guy, him being a Daily Wire plant. Those are the videos that get views for me on YouTube. House Speaker Mike Johnson apparently has a proposal. Oh, I love that this video is 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. House Speaker Mike Johnson has a proposal to prevent a government shutdown. Remember, we are barreling towards it. 11 days. 11 days. We face yet another government shutdown. What does the newly minted House Speaker have up his sleeve?
Is looming once again for Congress to agree on how to fund the government and avoid a shutdown.
Lawmakers have until November 17th to either pass appropriations bills or agree on a second stopgap measure to further extend the deadline.
Senior Republicans in both chambers of Congress believe a continuing resolution is unavoidable. But for now, new House Speaker Mike Johnson is showing hardline Republicans that he is committed to following through on passing all 12 appropriation bills individually. For more on this, congressional correspondent Nicole Killian joins us now.
That ain't gonna happen.
Nicole, 11 days, that is less than 2 weeks. What's it looking like in terms of a plan to avoid a shutdown?
Well, Speaker Johnson made clear that there is going to be the likelihood of a temporary stopgap measure just because it's probably unlikely that they're going to get all of those appropriations bills done in time. He said just this weekend that he spent the better part of this weekend working to try to craft a proposal. We just don't know what's in it. That's the short answer. So, is it a clean CR that just continues funding the government at current levels? Will it include deep cuts, which some Republicans have been advocating for, or will this be a laddered CR, which the speaker teased to me just last week as a proposal that
teasing
brought forth that would extend agency funding kind of on a more of an individual basis. So it's kind of show me what's behind door number one, door number two, door number three. We just don't know yet.
Nicole, anybody with good short-term memory recalls that not too long ago, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy lost his job for putting forth a clean funding bill at the 11th hour. Why is Speaker Johnson getting more leeway, basically, here?
Oh, well, again, the reality is they're just not going to be able to get through all of these appropriations bills in time. And while the speaker has proposed a very aggressive schedule to do that, even that schedule has gotten bogged down a bit. And just today, we saw the White House issue a veto threat to one of those appropriations bills. So, it is going to be out.
Dustin, they're going to kick the can down the road for what? I've heard till March. I've heard until January.
Uphill climb, not to mention the Senate still has to move forward their bills. So we're kind of a long way away from getting.
Goldfish, you're my kind of person.
So they do need some.
Gargling down that politidick.
Work things out. Again, I think given the speaker battle that we saw, which took some 3 weeks before Speaker Johnson was elected, they lost a lot of critical time there. So some of this is kind of still the honeymoon phase, if you will, for Speaker Johnson, giving him that time and leeway to try to, not only move these appropriations bills, but also buy a little bit more time to keep the government funded.
And Nicole, last week the House passed an aid package that only included money for Israel, but then over the weekend, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says he does expect that the Senate, over in the other chamber, will pass a bill that includes aid for both Israel and the other big war America is supporting.
Oh, Snicks, we're going to get into that. That's
What's the
next.
disconnect between the House and the Senate side?
Yeah, well, there's also a little bit of a disconnect between and amongst Senate Republicans as well. I mean, Leader Schumer has made clear that he's not going to give this standalone Israel bill the time of day. He has called it a joke. He has called it deeply flawed. And he has said, regardless, that he's going to move forward with a bipartisan emergency package. And so that's basically what's happening over in the Senate, that the leader is trying to work with Senate Republicans here on a broader package, more akin to what the White House and the president proposed in terms of including money for Israel, including money for Ukraine, including money for the Indo-Pacific, and potentially money to address the U.S.-Mexico border. But it's likely that Senate Republicans may want to see some tweaks there, and that, to a certain extent, is what Senator Lindsey Graham alluded to when he said it's likely that they'll kind of do an all-encompassing package versus taking up this House measure. So it'll be interesting to see.
None of us have fucking health care. Well, some of you might. Most of us don't have health care. There's like $100 billion between Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Jesus. I've said it before on this stream. I think the way that you spread democracy throughout the world is not through the barrel of a gun. It's not by wars. It's by setting an example. If we become a free country, a truly free country, and we set an example for the world, the rest of the world will follow. I feel like we've set a bad example for the world, and the rest of the world has followed. True, Dustin, true. We don't have democracy in this fucking country. I've proposed it. We get rid of the House of Representatives. I think they're useless. I think they are useless. Get rid of the House of Representatives. We can keep the Senate. We log in with our Social Security numbers. A program, we vote. We vote. We become the House. We should get some of that. I agree. But before we go back to talking about war, let's talk about porn.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Nick's brought it up. In the Nick's reading my mind here. Knew what I had coming up next. Mike Johnson says in a resurfaced video he uses an app that helps people quit porn. Now that's not exactly the thing that struck me as odd. Richard, good evening. Well, the reason I kind of believe that the founders were right, that you kind of need the Senate to be They created the Senate to make sure that the representatives didn't move too quickly on anything. Now, there is an argument to be made, and I'm open to it, that we need swift action on a lot of issues, especially when it comes to climate change. I would like to see the Senate be more democratic. I think we should get rid of the filibuster. I also think we should have more senators. I think all of our territories should have a senator. How many burners does Mike have? That's a great question. The thing about this story that creeped me out is apparently his son is like his accountability buddy, and they keep tabs on whether the two of them watch porn. That's the thing that creeps me out. So here is the clip.
Within your home. And why is that such an effective tool? Why do parents need to put this into their home?
Yeah, that's great
great question. We probably could have called this more appropriately a war on the darkness of technology, because there are some good things with technology, of course. I mean, you know, the Bible apps we all love. We broadcast our services. You know,
the Bible apps we all love.
There's some very positive things, but there's also, as Clint's pointed out aptly, some really dark things. So Covenant Eyes is the software that we've been using a long time in our household. I first learned about it at, I think, a Promise Keepers event in the early 2000s. I think it was.
Those things are creepy. That's where Promise Keepers is where like daughters promise their virginity to their dads. This puritanical evangelical shit creeps me the fuck out.
Developed in about the year 2000. But it's the largest accountability software that there is, and there's some paperwork out there on the table that I think everybody may have picked up on the way in. If not, go get it. It's a subscription-based. I mean, we don't make any money on this. I'm telling you, we use it. Okay, I'm endorsing it because I'm a user. It's about $15 a month, $16 a month, something like that. You get up to 10 devices. And what it is, it's accountability software. So men in a church, you know, men's Bible study groups will do it. That's how it's presented at Promise Keepers. But they also mention, hey, when your kids become teenagers, especially if you have boys, dads, they're talking to the guys at this event, you might want to think about doing this with your sons. And so we've been doing that. And so what it does real simply is it has an algorithm and software. It's way above my head how it works, but it scans, you obviously opt into it, but it scans all the activity on your phone or your devices, your laptop, tablet, what have you. We do all of it. And then it sends a report to your accountability partner. So my accountability partner right now is Jack, my son, right? And so he's 17. So he and I get a report of all the things that are on our phones or all of our devices once a week. If anything objectionable comes up, your accountability partner gets an immediate notice. I'm proud to tell you my son he's got a clean slate, all right? Yeah. But we get a report and it says, hey, no activity of concern, and it's really sensitive. It'll pick up almost anything. It looks for keywords, search terms, and also images, and it will send your accountability.
Okay, here's the thing is like, and I get into this with people a lot, like I don't watch professional porn, so. Did I get it wrong, Spider Pickle? Also, good evening. I'm like watching these small content creators that like to get fucked by strangers. Like that's kind of my thing. Like Vegas Cum Queen. I really like her. Lexi May. She goes around fucking everybody. To me it's fucking creepy. But I also didn't grow up in a puritanical household. I had a guy say that I must have been raised Catholic and that's why I hate religion. No, I hate to inform you, my parents actually weren't religious at all, and I went to church on my own. Like I would think if I've said this before, I would think my mom probably would say she believes in a God. But very low on the list of priorities in her life. Oh, it's just a men's gathering? Okay, I was thinking about the promised rings and the purity balls, right? They had the promised rings for the purity balls, and the young girls would promise their virginity to their fathers. That's where I was getting confused, correct?
I can't wait to have your cock in
Warlord's
my
back.
mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
The freaking accountability app. That's what we need. I love it. Flash, you're full of good ideas. God damn. Let's go to goddamn these. Let's go to Stuart Varney and Joe Concha, who apparently have a big problem with the way that the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is being portrayed by the media.
Joe Concha. Joe, here we go again. Identity politics. I think that's really hurting the Democrat Party because it's so divisive.
And it's such a crutch, right, Stu? And this is an utterly fascinating take by Stacey Abrams, who, by the way, is an election denier who was irresponsibly given a national platform by Jen Psaki. She never circled back and challenged her on that front. But let's get this straight, Stu. Ms. Abrams believes that racism and misogyny are the reasons why Kamala Harris is polling lower than any vice president in polling history. Because if Harris is so popular with Democrats, why exactly did they overwhelmingly reject her when she ran for president? In fact, she was so unpopular as a 2020 candidate that she didn't even get to 2020 as a candidate. She dropped out in 2019. So we're Democratic.
He ain't wrong.
Acting out with sexism and misogyny. Here's why Kamala Harris is so unpopular, Steve.
Did she drop out in 2019? I thought she was one of the many that dropped out on Super Tuesday.
She has authenticity issues. She has major articulation issues. She gets an F- for her performance, as borders are. And the number of people who are coming into this country now on the FBI terror watch list are at an all-time high. And the number of people in general coming into this country is at an all-time high illegally. So those are the reasons why this vice president is patently unpopular. It ain't racism, and it certainly ain't sexism, Stu.
You got it. Listen to what Speaker Mike Johnson says about the media's ongoing attacks on him and his family. Watch this. Roll it.
Okay.
I've been labeled all kinds of stuff, but these people don't know me. Look, my family, it's no fun to be misquoted and maligned and mocked, of course, but we know that comes with a job, and we're in phase.
Joe, you think that Johnson has replaced Trump as the media's number one?
Oh, she dropped out right before Iowa. Okay.
Yeah, that's my column for The Messenger on Sunday. And because you see the headlines surrounding the new House Speaker, and they are utterly craptastic, Stu. I mean, here's one from a White House credentialed reporter in Salon. Quote, MAGA and Christian nationalism, bigger threat to America than Hamas could ever be. You heard that.
That's true.
Insidious terror organization who just butchered more than...
That insidious terror organization is nowhere near here. Whereas the MAGA white Christian nationalists are right here in this country, causing damage, elected to office. You have one up on screen right now.
1,400 Israelis, 31 Americans less than a month ago is not as dangerous as Trump supporters and Christians in this country. And the fact that Salon thought it was a great idea to publish this, not only publish it, they're still actively promoting it. It's utterly sick, especially considering that Americans are still being held hostage over in Gaza. And here's another one, Stu, from the Daily Beast. Quote, Mike Johnson doesn't have any retirement savings, own a single stock, or have any assets at all. He has less than $5,000 in his bank account. He's got a $250,000 mortgage, a home equity loan, and a personal loan. So what's his retirement plan? To lobby? Well, a few things to unpack here, Stu. 2/3 of Americans can't even afford a $400 emergency right now. Maybe that's why his savings are so low. Members of Congress owning stock, that's something that everybody from AOC to Josh Hawley are against for obvious reasons. And Johnson's eligible for a congressional pension at age 62, so that will help his retirement. So this whole thing, like he's not elitist enough to be House Speaker, that's one heck of an argument. But overall, it's been nothing but negative coverage for this House Speaker because of the letter next to his name, Stu.
Why?
Because of the letter next to his name. Weird, Joe Concha. Are you telling me that Republican commentators, right-wing commentators, aren't taking Mike Johnson to task? Because apparently Tucker Carlson has a beef with him.
Tucker Carlson and comedian Theo Vaughn not happy with Speaker Mike Johnson's America Second approach. Let's watch.
Speaker of the House, who I know is a nice guy from your state, the new Speaker of the House comes in, and the first thing he does is issue a statement on behalf of a foreign country. That's the most important thing. I'm not even against the statement, but I'm just saying, like, what bigger statement does that make?
That's him, Mikey Johnson?
Yeah. And
he's the speaker?
He is. And,
praise God. I mean, damn, Mikey.
He's a nice guy, and I'm not against him, but I'm just saying, like, if you think...
Wait. Okay, so first of all, I have to point out that I did not know who Theo Vaughn was. I thought it was the dude from Righteous Gemstones. And it's not. I thought it was the dude that was dating Adam Devine's character in Righteous Gemstones. Apparently, those are two different guys. Hold on. Let me get you the side-by-side comparison here. These are apparently two different people. And I had absolutely no fucking idea. Do I still have the pictures handy? I get accused of racism a lot, and I confuse a lot of people, right? I'm always like, is it racist if I say this looks like somebody? But apparently, like, I can't tell two white people apart either. I don't have the pictures. I don't. Where did I put them? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Apparently, these are two completely different people. Is that not the same guy? So when I started hearing everybody talk about Theo Vaughn, I'm like, oh, the dude from Roger's Gemstones. Okay, cool on him. I now have no idea who this Theo Vaughn guy is or why he's so popular. Is that not the same dude? Tell me that's not the same fucking dude. Apparently, because remember the other day I was like, oh, is that Bobby Lashley? And it turns out it wasn't Bobby Lashley, but then I saw, I think the dude from the Trump picture that I saw behind him, I think that was a representative from Texas that I saw give a speech. But I didn't want to like pull up that speech and be like, oh, this is the dude that was behind Trump. And me also be wrong again and me confusing another muscular black guy. Well, when did Theo Vaughn become famous? What's he famous for? I don't know. I do. I have face blindness or some shit.
Him, Mikey Johnson?
Yeah. And
he's the speaker?
He is. And,
praise God. Damn, Mikey.
He's a nice guy, and I'm not against him, but I'm just saying, like, if you think the welfare of another country is the most important thing for you as one of the leaders of our country, third in line to the presidency, you have lost the thread, son, because it's not. Nothing is more important for the leaders of our country than our country and how its 350 million people are doing. So I was enraged by that. And people are like, oh, are you for Hamas? Of course I'm not for Hamas.
Wait a minute, is Tucker's not for us supporting Israel? It comes as a shock to me.
At all. I'm for America, actually. I shouldn't even have to answer that question.
Yeah.
Are you for Israel or Hamas? I mean, obviously I'm for Israel over Hamas, but that's irrelevant. I'm for America. And no one even asked that. And I feel deep resentment about that the concerns of this country are of no concern.
Right. It feels like our concerns don't even matter anymore.
They don't matter.
That's why it makes me wonder, are we just a shell company for Israel? Are we just a shell company for China? Like, what are we anymore? Like, are we just...
Well, there are a lot of people...
Now, this goes to the argument that Tucker Carlson's absence from Fox News really does mean that there is nobody taking this position on the most popular right network in the country, even though I think it rightly reflects where a majority of the population is.
Yes, while he has that perch at Fox, I think he served as a very useful reminder to a lot of establishment Republicans, a lot of Republican politicians that, you know, you may be talking to other powerful people and national security people and lobbyist groups and all that, but I have people watching my show, and the people watch my show because they like what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is, why don't you ever talk about what Americans need and what U.S. national security should be? Why are you so focused internationally and elsewhere? And Tucker had the biggest show period, and the biggest show from a conservative standpoint on television.
Flash, I don't even really know who Dylan Burns is. I know he's gone to Ukraine several times, and I know he's a streamer. Other than, like, if I was to see him, I wouldn't even know what he looked like. He could be sitting here next to me, would not know who he is.
Television, and he was different on this subject. He was different from all of the rest, and he was exerting a useful pull on them to be.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would get along with most comedians' tones, but judging by the people that Theo Vaughn has on his podcast, I don't think I'd get along with him too well, because, like, it's a lot of Jordan Peterson and Tucker Carlson and blah, 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 blah. I've got no value judgment on Dylan. I just wouldn't know. Like, as I've said, I don't watch other people that do the same thing I do. I watch, Brianna and Robbie is like as close to it as I get. Other commentators that are on network TV or The Hill or some shit.
Or to be more in keeping with an understanding of a less interventionist foreign policy that's just focused on what's good for the United States, that's good for the people who pay for the national security of the United States, which is the taxpayers. I keep bringing up the fact that we're paying for the Ukrainian war effort. Europe's not paying for it. Germany's not paying for it. The UK's not paying for it. It's there. It's in their backyard, and we pay for it. And by we, I mean you, people watching. And I think Americans are so outraged. Tucker is clearly outraged by it. That's not performance. He's not faking that. He thinks that's outrageous. And so many people, and I don't know this Theo Von.
Now, come on. I don't think there's very much of what Tucker does that's not performative. And he's even stated this in the past.
Host, comedian, podcaster person very well. He's kind of only recently entered my my awareness, but it seems so. I don't know if he's particularly. I gather he's not necessarily particularly conservative or even political, but maybe like a Joe Rogan or like
Destiny, Vosh, Keffels. They are. I've tried to be very supportive of Keffels. I don't watch any of her content. But she's been going off the deep end, hasn't she? Amy Goodman. That's my lady. That's my wafu. Destiny though, like I feel like I should try to pick on Destiny for clout. Like he's got a lot of shit takes, doesn't he? I should try to get some of that clout.
Someone like that, can become political and frankly can become right-wing even from seeing the lack of attention paid to actually American issues by elites, certainly in both parties.
Yeah, it would be an odd thing to become right-wing because you're upset about a segment in which Tucker Carlson is criticizing the newly elected Republican Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a right-on-right kind of discourse that's happening right now, and the most strident, vocal, and numerically significant portion of people who are condemning U.S. involvement in the war in Israel right now, in Gaza right now, is most certainly on the left. There is, by my count, exactly one presidential candidate in all of the races on both sides of the aisle and outside of the two-party system or within that has a strong condemnation of the actions of Israel against Palestine, who wants to cut funding and who wants to end the occupation of Palestine, and that's Cornel West. I don't think even Marianne Williamson, even though is she even still in the can?
Look. Her manager quit like last week or something. Is she even still in the race at this point?
Go that far, and certainly there's no one on the right side of the aisle who would take that stand.
Right, in terms of that. But there is, in terms of the, and Tucker acknowledges there, he's not taking some position in the actual conflict. What he is taking a position on is why the conflict should matter to U.S. taxpayers, the U.S. government. Not that it shouldn't matter at all.
Look, they're just trying to fill time. I'm done. They don't have anything to say. Sorry to cut you off, Robbie Suave. This show has been rudderless. I at least enjoyed some of the discourse when Crystal and Sagar was on there. And apparently, it had a much higher profile when Sagar was on there. I used to actually play clips once a week, at least, and talk about how much I hated Sagar. I feel like Crystal and Sagar are irrelevant. I feel like the Rising show is irrelevant. I don't know. Fuck him. And fuck this GOP lawmaker. Hold on, who is this dude? Representative Rich McCormick from Georgia. Once again, after it was torpedoed, was it last week? Once again, bringing a motion to the floor to censure Rashida Tlaib.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. H.R. 845, censuring Representative Rashida Tlaib for promoting false narratives regarding the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and calling for the destruction of the State of Israel.
That never happened! If we can censure somebody for false narratives, can we start with you? Because what you just said was absolute bullshit.
Whereas Israel has existed on its lands for millennia, and the United States played a critical role in returning Israel to those lands in 1948, immediately following the Holocaust, and in recognition of its rights to exist as an indelible signal of our solidarity with the Jewish people. Whereas Israel is a critical ally to the American people and to our strategic national security interests in the Middle East. Whereas the people of Israel, including American citizens, were brutally attacked on October 7, 2023 by Hamas. Whereas Representative Rashida Tlaib, within 24 hours of the October 7 barbaric attack on Jewish citizens of the State of Israel, representing the deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust, defended the brutal rapes, murders, beheadings, and kidnappings, including of Americans, by Hamas as justified resistance to the, quote, apartheid state, end quote. Whereas Representative Tlaib's October 8 statement claimed that Hamas' October 7 attack on the Jewish people was partly attributable to the United States security aid provided to Israel, which ignores the fact that the Iron Dome, a code-developed air defense system, saved lives that day by intercepting rockets launched from the Gaza Strip.
Sir, have you ever been to South Carolina?
Against Israeli civilian targets. Whereas on October 18, 2023, Representative Tlaib continued to knowingly spread the false narrative that Israel intentionally bombed the Al-Ali Arab Hospital on October 17.
They took credit for it. Now, I'm not going to say definitively that Israel bombed the hospital, but they warned the staff of the hospital to leave the hospital. And directly after the bombing, they took credit for it. Then they gave a press conference where they falsely attributed a rocket to Hamas and then made up a tape of supposed Hamas fighters talking about plotting to bomb the hospital. So if I was a betting man, I would bet that it was actually a Israeli munition. But we can't say for certain. What we do know is that Israel lied numerous times about it and that they took credit for it originally.
After United States intelligence, Israeli intelligence, and President Biden assessed with high confidence that Israel did not cause the explosion.
Come on, man.
Whereas on
Biden didn't assess with high confidence. He just said we believe the IDF, and that's bullshit.
November 3, 2023, Representative Tlaib published on social media a video containing the phrase, quote, from the river to the sea, end quote, which is widely recognized as a genocidal call to violence to destroy the State of Israel and its people to replace.
I went over this last night. Since when? A genocidal call? That is not what that is at all. Because I had multiple right wingers who were like, river to the sea, and I'm like, the fuck are you guys even talking about? Just saying that phrase apparently means that you are anti-Semitic. Go fuck yourself.
Replace it with a Palestinian state extending from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Whereas Representative Tlaib doubled down on this call to violence by falsely describing the from the river to the sea as an aspirational call for freedom.
That's what it is. That's what it started as back in 1967 after the Nakba. That's when it originated.
Human rights and peaceful coexistence, despite it clearly entailing Israel's destruction and the denial of its fundamental right to exist. And whereas Representative Tlaib has repeatedly displayed conduct entirely unbecoming of a member of the House of Representatives by calling for the destruction of the state of Israel and dangerously promoting false narratives regarding a brutal, large-scale terrorist attack against civilian targets inside the sovereign territory of a major non-NATO ally, while hundreds of Israeli and American hostages remain in terrorist captivity. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Rashida Tlaib be censored.
He even said censored. He doesn't even know what it's censured. Censured, not censored. Oh, my God.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Rashida Tlaib be censored.
Censured. You don't even know what the fuck your bill is for. And Tlaib is one of the bravest Congress people that we have, and protect that woman at all costs. That little man indeed. We watched the interview with Bernie Sanders. We're going to get a clip of it here. This is a montage of different politicians talking about a ceasefire in Gaza. A lot of people are apparently really upset at Bernie. Could he go further? Sure. But, I mean, I'm a little upset that people are going to attack the only person that's on national TV, a Jewish man who is the Senate Budget Committee chair. He's on national TV talking about we need to talk about the horrors in Gaza and talk about the Gazan people. He's the only one out here waving that banner. So I hate to attack him. Reasonable people can disagree. Reasonable people can disagree on the age of consent. I would like to see him be more supportive. Like, if he's not going to come full out and call for a ceasefire, maybe be more supportive and lift up representatives like Tlaib. I don't. Is it Tlaib or Tlaib? I always say it differently. I'm sorry. Me and my being bad with names.
Blinken has said that what Hamas is doing with using human shields is monstrous. But he also said that he shared with the Israeli government steps they could and should take to minimize harm to civilians.
Tlaib.
That is the closest I've heard a U.S. official come to saying the administration isn't 100% comfortable with what the Israeli military is doing.
We've been quite clear that the way that Hamas conducts this fight, launching an appalling attack on Israel and then retreating into the Gaza Strip and essentially concealing themselves among a densely populated civilian population is unconscionable. At the same time, while that raises the burden on the Israeli military to conduct this fight and go after Hamas, it does not diminish their obligation to do so in a way that distinguishes between civilians and fighters. And we have had many direct conversations with the government of Israel on that topic, and we'll continue to do that.
Should Israel destroy Hamas post-attack on these innocent civilians in Israel without killing innocent men, women, and children when Hamas is hiding behind them and putting them in danger? How does that work?
Well, that is exactly the right question to be asked the military experts, of which I am not one. Israel has a right to defend itself. Hamas has sworn that's what its goal is to destroy Israel. They got to deal with that.
I really want some hummus right now.
There got to be a better way than killing thousands of men, women, and children.
Eradicate a terrorist organization that is embedded in every aspect of a civilization. It's a very difficult problem set to have, but think back to the 1,400 Israelis that were slaughtered. I mean, Israel didn't start this war. I'm of the mindset...
What about the 10,000 Gazans who are dead now? Half of which are children. What about the fact that half of the structures in Gaza no longer exist?
ceasefire needs to occur when Hamas is eliminated.
I don't want to take the pressure off Hamas militarily, but if Israel can find a way to help the humanitarian situation, yes, I'd like to do it. But after World War II, did anybody ask us these questions? You got to realize the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on cities in Japan to end the war. I think this is total war between Israel and Hamas.
Talk of a
Virtually everything he just said was wrong. Virtually everything he just said was wrong. Do I need to go over it? Like, we did not have to drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That had more to do with, like, portraying power to the world, the dirty communists. We are... I would like to think that if FDR had lived, he wouldn't have dropped the bomb on Japan. However, the program was started under FDR. So but then the idea that, like, no one asked the United States, like, what we needed to do to rebuild these places. We had the Marshall Plan, motherfucker.
pause needs to stop. Hamas needs to be eliminated. Hamas, working with Iran, has been plotting and planning for months, if not over a year, to invade Israel. And Israel has a right to defend themselves. And
Did he say to invade God?
To invade Israel, and
to invade God. To invade God. One of my favorite openings to the show Rick and Morty is the one where they're like, they're sitting there having breakfast. Morty's like, yeah, we're going to kill God. Christian God is real. We're going to eat and then we're going to go kill him. We're going to invade God.
To invade Israel. And Israel has been plotting and planning for months, if not over a year, to invade Israel. And Israel has a right to defend themselves, and we in the Congress stand right behind them in their efforts.
The president has been under growing pressure from Democrats here at home to do more to end the fighting. We've seen protests as well. Probably the harshest is Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. I'm going to show what she put up on Friday. She said Joe Biden supported the genocide of the Palestinian people. The American people won't forget Biden. Support a ceasefire now, or don't count on us in 2024.
The characterizations and the terms used, we believe, have technical definitions, have certain historical resonance and weight, and that we do not accept their application to this particular war.
Oh, really? Is that true? What if I showed you a Jewish historian of the Holocaust? Oh, shit. Israel is committing a textbook case of genocide, a Holocaust historian says. An Israeli historian and Holocaust scholar has called how Israel is treating Palestinians in Gaza a textbook case of genocide. This is on top of all the human rights organizations that have called it a genocide. Thinker man, hold on, don't leave us. Why do you think it was a waste of your night? You can call in and tell me, 917-830-4359. Or you can hop in the Discord. A lot of people like to come to my YouTube channel and be like, you suck. It's like, well, give me constructive criticism. What exactly are you not finding informative? I would really like to know. Not really a fan of what? How can I win you over, thinker? You say you're a thinker. You're not giving me anything to think on. I understand that I'm a little bit abrasive. Not enough Hunter Dong for you. That's always a possibility. Come on, I've got fun graphics. Like I'll call for people to get titty slapped.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Oh, yes. I do have some good advice for you. I try to impart wisdom on everyone whenever I can.
Life is too short to walk this earth for a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
We all need more Hunter Biden cock. So tried to give my stream a chance, but apparently just got here. Those are kind of, yes, I'm a little abrasive. That might be an understatement. I just got here and wasted their night. That doesn't fit together. No. Also, I like to think I might be tooting my own horn, might be jacking myself off here. I think if you watch my stream, you will be more informed than watching any other news program the same amount of time. You're certainly more informed than if you had watched Fox News from 8 o'clock until now, or MSNBC or CNN or any of the cable news outlets. So what is it that rubbed you the wrong way? Is it the coverage of Israel and Gaza? Is it the fact that I pointed out that a Jewish historian says that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people? Okay, so here's one of the things that I get all upset about right-wing media is they don't present both sides of the argument. The right wing never properly articulate what the argument they're going against is. So like Matt Walsh will get on and talk about trans people all day long. We'll never bring on a geneticist or a biologist. They'll tell you, biology, it says that men are men and women are women. Yeah, apparently I'm not even talking to him anymore. I try to be fair. We watch more right-wingers than we watch left-wingers on this stream. If you're gonna tell me it's not for you, like tell me like what rubbed you the wrong way. So maybe next time I can rub you the right way. Ha 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 ha.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Anybody got a guess? The other day, we had somebody in here. They were on Kick, and they had apparently been watching for a little bit. And then we got on Israel, and they're like, "I support Israel. I'm out." Oh, I'm sorry. Getting a little kinky in here. What did not get kinky today was a news conference on student loan forgiveness held by Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Erica, Jessica, that is correct. State and city leaders.
Nope. My name is Justin. I tossed to you. Name is Justin.
Erica, Jessica, that is correct. State and city leaders were at City Hall promoting a time-limited debt relief opportunity for public service workers when pro-Palestinian supporters erupted in protest demanding a ceasefire. Now, this all happened just after Senator Elizabeth Warren gave her remarks about debt forgiveness. She was then ushered away from the podium, and seconds later, protesters in the audience stood up and started yelling. Senator Warren has called for humanitarian pauses in the hostilities between Israel and Hamas so hostages can get out of Gaza and relief can get in. She has not called for a ceasefire and did not make any comment as she left the building. Again, all of this happening in City Hall during an event about student loan forgiveness, an opportunity there, which I do want to take a moment to tell you about. The Public Service Loan Forgiveness Pay Count Adjustment allows government and nonprofit workers to have their debt forgiven tax-free after they've made 10 years worth of monthly payments. The Attorney General's office wants to help eligible employees navigate this process, which they say has greatly helped people all across the Commonwealth.
Public service loan forgiveness changed
after 10 years.
Due to forgiveness, I was finally able to make my dream come true this past August when I became a first-time home buyer.
Now, loans must be consolidated by December 31st to qualify for this program. Again, a lot going on here at City Hall today. I also want to mention Congresswoman Presley did not give any comment as she left the building, so there was no comment from her on what is happening overseas. We're live in Boston. Brianna Borghi, WCVB News Center 5.
So that was not the only press conference that was interrupted. A Cory Booker press conference was interrupted. See if I can find that. I didn't put that on the list.
This is in our country right now, where people want to make sure that we have. This is what makes America great. The power to protest. The power to have free speech. The power of America.
Yes, I would like to buy a home as well. That's hopefully something I will do in the next 5 years. I would want to get on that track.
Column A all the way. Column A all the way. Column A all the way. There are so many places.
I love that they had blood on their hands. I feel like we are hitting a tipping point. Things feel different. Like, I lived through the Iraq War and the build-up to it, the post 9/11. I was called a terrorist and say I didn't love America and shit for protesting the war. Cory Booker has been disappointing about pretty much every fucking thing. Other than the fact that he's a senator from New Jersey and he's not Bob Menendez, he doesn't have much going for him. Meanwhile, in Stanford, apparently campus police are investigating a hit and run as a hate crime, possibly over the war in Gaza.
The California Highway Patrol is investigating a hit.
I don't even want to call it a war. The genocide in Gaza. There's not really a war. A war implies two sides fighting. There's only really one side fighting.
Crime after a hit and run on the Stanford campus. The driver apparently targeted an Arab Muslim student. As NBC Bay Area's Marianne Faber reports, now students are calling for the university to do more to keep them safe.
The student who was hit is hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Tonight, he is calling for students to denounce hatred, and he's also calling out response after he was hit. Stanford student Abdul Wahab Omira says he was walking to class yesterday afternoon when a driver hit him and yelled, "F you and your people," as he sped off. Omira put out a statement shared with NBC Bay Area Saturday. In it, he was critical of Stanford, saying the hours following the incident were agonizingly silent from the institution that I had trusted to be my safeguard. Stanford's belated response came 6 hours later, and the subsequent communication downplayed the severity of the incident, referring to it as a potential hate crime. Some Stanford students say as they speak out about the conflict in the Middle East, they feel unsafe on campus.
And I saw people writing on billboards saying they
illusion of Israel is burning.
Other students who have camped out in tents to call for a ceasefire in Gaza say they have received threats. After the hit and run, students on both sides are demanding the university do more to keep all students safe.
I think that the university needs to lead with empathy. I think that there needs to be a firm stance to protect students. And I think that less hesitation would be important as well.
In a message to the campus community after the incident, the university said, quote, Stanford is continuing to work to provide a safe and secure campus environment in the context of heightened tensions related to the events in Israel and Gaza. This includes additional security that has been deployed at key locations on campus. But students we talk with say it's not enough.
The university should work to quiet down the extreme voices and bring in the people on the center. To quiet down everything that has to do with violence.
I don't quiet down. That seems like tamping down on speech, and that's the last thing you want a university to do.
In Palo Alto, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
Oh. You see a lot of stories about people ripping down the posters for hostages. I totally think the hostage posters in the United States is propaganda on Israel's part. But I also wouldn't please don't go out and rip down posters anywhere of hostage victims, because the act of ripping them down is good propaganda for Israel. Not because I disagree with, civil disobedience or anything. It's good propaganda for Israel and the people who want to call us anti-Semites. I'm going long tonight. It's another one of those nights where I really wanted to be like an hour and done, and that didn't happen. I'm going to have to refill my drink. I'm going to go to the bathroom, but I think we need to play this. I'm going to be listening to it while I go take a tinkle. Content warning, we're going to Morning Joe. And apparently they are interviewing the son of Hamas's founder. By the way, Hamas's founder, apparently a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. So, fuck Hamas as well. I condemn.
He condemn.
A decade ago, Mossab Hassan Youssef, the son of a top Hamas founder and leader, wrote a book about becoming an informant for Israel. He is now speaking out against the terrorist group and
he's a narc.
In a new interview with activist Madana Dayani that she published on her Instagram page. Take a look.
What I see today, that we're not far from World War III. Very similar events are happening. Holocaust is not only measured by the numbers of the people who died. It's how it's done and why it's done. What motivates a Holocaust. And that's a similarity. And when the world stayed silent in the face of the Nazis as they saw it on the rise, they started as a point of view, which is very similar to the anti-Semite or anti-Semitic movement. Today, we have the same silence. We are not making ourselves very clear that anti-Semitism and all this movement justifying the slaughter of the Jewish people. If we fail this time, again, it would be our second time, and it would be another world war. This is my prophecy.
And Mandana joins us now. She is co-founder of the group I Am a Voter. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Really striking words there. Tell us a little bit about how this came to be. Tell us a little bit more about this individual we just heard from and why he's talking now.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I think obviously he was born as the son of one of the co-founders of Hamas, and it's one of its current leaders. And, he knows this organization inside out. And after serving some time in prison with them, saw their brutality against their own, against Palestinians, against other members of Hamas, and ultimately defected to try and prevent further violence, to try to prevent suicide bombings. And I think that there is this overwhelming sense of he knows what's coming. He knows what this organization wants to do. And I feel like he feels like he's screaming at the top of his lungs to try to warn the world, and they're not taking him seriously. And I was so moved by his courage. I was so moved by his determination to hope for something better and to fight for something better. To hear him unequivocally denounce anti-Semitism, yeah, I was very, very moved. And we had a very long and very frank conversation about the goals of Hamas, what will happen, if there was a ceasefire, what would happen if there isn't, when they will stop, his feelings about all the propaganda. And yeah, it was very, very moving.
Well, let's play a little bit more of what he had to say, in particular, what Mossab told you about what he thinks would happen if there indeed were to be a ceasefire now.
A premature ceasefire is a problem, and it will not lead to peace. In my opinion, it will lead to more violence. Why? The voices, first of all, calling for ceasefire.
Can there be more violence than what is already occurring? I mean, if there's no ceasefire, there's not going to be a Palestinian people. I mean, I get this dude, doesn't like Hamas and their actions. I agree. I condemn Hamas.
He condemn.
That does not justify Israelis or the Israeli action.
Ceasefire, they are in denial. They simply just don't want bloodshed. They want the problem to finish now. Just like somebody sweeping the dirt under the rug, that they don't want to face
Take a question, Venus.
And get the job done correctly according.
Get the job done correctly is providing a... We're probably past a two-state solution at this point. We are at a state of Israel that hopefully can be democratic and allow Palestinians to have citizenship and participate in the government. That is not an ethno-state. That's probably the best we can hope for at this point in time, because there's not going to be a state of Palestine, unfortunately. That window closed, 30 years ago?
Life according existence.
Yeah.
Escapists. And by the way, Hamas is counting on this majority of emotional people. Do you think Hamas did not understand this? Hamas orchestrated this entire thing based on the sensitivity of the free world and how vulnerable we are when it comes to the human life, because we praise life, but Hamas doesn't care. True peacemakers are the ones carrying the guns now in Gaza Strip, confronting this barbaric enemy. Those are the ones who actually fighting for peace. Because at this moment, a ceasefire is cowardice. It's not.
Wow.
And it's escaping responsibility.
So Mandana, he doesn't mince words when he speaks about the brutality of what Hamas stands for, what it has done. My question for you was the level of atrocities, the horrors that we heard occurred on October 7th. Was he surprised at all at just how terrible they were? And then secondly, to speak to us about, is he putting himself at risk by speaking out like this?
I think that he believes in the importance of truth right now, especially in the context of all the misinformation that we're seeing online, knowing how much money Iran and Russia and these other proxies are putting into sowing division amongst people and on TikTok and across all the social platforms, spreading propaganda, trying to indoctrinate and radicalize people against Israel. I mean, Hamas is not mincing words. They're very, very clear that their intent is to annihilate Israel and the Jewish people, to build an Islamic State on top of the rubble of the ruin.
And it's so weird that Israel funded and propped them up then, isn't it?
And then to go after all Western values and not stop. So, I mean, again, I think and that in context of the ceasefire question, right, is this idea that, like, of course, everybody wants, other than Hamas, for there to be less death and less suffering. But Hamas has expressed no political agenda. They've not said they've provided no assurances that they will release the hostages, that they will comply with the ceasefire. There was a ceasefire before October 7th. They violated it. And again, I think when he went into detail about all of the work they've done to build tunnels, that they want more death in Gaza because it garners more sympathy for their mission and allows them to continue to arm themselves. I mean, this is corruption, and this is horrible, horrible evil of people that are using, human shields and every single terrorist tactic to conduct this ideological war. And again, seeing that, in contrast and against this backdrop.
I was trying to find a clip of an IDF soldier I saw earlier today. Kind of a lot like Pat Tillman back in the Iraq War. Got very disillusioned with what was going on. This IDF soldier's like, what we're doing here is not right. So I wanted to really counter the Hamas leader's son calling the IDF freedom fighters with an IDF soldier going, what we're doing here is not right. But unfortunately, I could not find that in my watch history. I did not expect to be that outraged by what he had to say. I thought we were going to get some good insight, but it did almost seem like he was paid propaganda for Netanyahu or some shit. Jesus. Okay, let's move away from a story that's going to piss you off to a different story that's going to piss you off. I have yelled about this one and yelled about this so many times, and to get to the end of this story and not see justice is heart-wrenching. Because this is one of those stories that has unfolded during my time doing the Troll Patrol, so I followed it very closely. I think it happened right before I started the Troll Patrol. But then we found out about it. Became national news during the George Floyd protests. A third officer charged in Elijah McClain's death found not guilty. This was a young man, I believe he was autistic. He had some sort of issue with social cues. He was not doing anything. Accused of no crime whatsoever. He was walking home from a convenience store. He apparently had a hoodie on, and someone called in a report of a suspicious person. And this was enough to get this young man killed. The jury found a Colorado police officer not guilty today in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain. Aurora officer Nathan Woodyard was the first on the scene and put McClain in a neck hold that left him temporarily unconscious. Remember, he did not do anything. He did not resist arrest. You can hear the audio. The audio's on out there somewhere from one of the body cameras. He apologizes to the cops. It is heartbreaking. He was found not guilty on charges of manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. I don't fucking know how. Among the three officers charged in McClain's killing, Woodyard is the second to be acquitted for their use of force the night of August 24th, 2019, after another jury delivered a split decision in October. The trials are testing the strength of the state's prosecutor's case against the 5 first responders in McClain's death. If convicted, he would have faced up to 6 years in prison. That's all. Only 6 years in prison. The jury took less than 2 days to reach their verdict. Over the nearly 3-week trial, state prosecutors called in medical and criminal justice experts to convince the jury that Woodyard's neck hold contributed to McLean's death. The move, known as a cardioid control hold, or a sleeper hold, has since been banned in Colorado and many states across the country. State prosecutors also argued that the officer failed to follow his training and render appropriate aid when McLean was choking on his vomit. Woodyard's defense attorney blamed McLean's death on the injection of ketamine, a powerful sedative paramedics administered, and insisted Woodyard followed protocol. The defense also insisted that he feared for his life after another responding officer said McLean attempted to grab one of their guns. Remember, you can hear the audio of him apologizing to the officers. I think I've heard the audio and not just transcripts. A couple paramedics were charged. 3 cops and 2 paramedics, if I remember. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser said during a press conference on Monday afternoon that the verdict was not what his office had sought, but he accepted the outcome. We remain undeterred in our pursuit of accountability and justice for Elijah McClain. Peter Chichuki and Jeremy Cooper, the 2 paramedics involved in administering the ketamine, will face trial later in November, and they have pleaded not guilty. An amended autopsy report released in 2022 determined McLean's death was due to complications from administration of the sedative ketamine after forcible restraint. Apparently, the cops called for them to use ketamine. They were doing some sort of study with the police department on the use of ketamine in law enforcement issues. And as I understand it, the cops called for the paramedics to use the ketamine. It is disgusting. I'm not sure, Tones. This is the young kid. He was like 19 or 20. I think he was in some kind of gifted and talented program. He was in like one of the like charter school or magnet school bands or something. This next story is going to be really hard. A lot of bullshit with this one. Oh God, Tony, fuck, Tones. I think I know the guy you're talking about. Was it Tony something that started with a T, maybe? But then again, I get all these incidents confused because, fuck, there's been so many of them. Nashville police have responded after Steven Crowder released the shooter in the Covenant School shooting in Nashville earlier this year. The Manifesto has been a subject of conversation on right-wing media for quite some time because the young person was trans. They identified as a female named Aubrey. And the amount of vitriol from the right. Oh, this proves that the anti-whiteness agenda is causing people to go out here and shoot up the place. Ignoring that most mass shooters are white and spew conservative rhetoric. Metro Nashville Police Department have responded to a manifesto allegedly written by the Nashville school shooter recently released by conservative commentator Steven Crowder. It was a publicity stunt. And if I had to guess, Tony Timpa, yes. If I had to guess, he probably has fans that work for the Nashville Police Department. And that's how it got leaked to Steven Crowder. Wait, am I confused? Was it a trans man? Oh, I may be confused on this then. Then my bad on that one, and my apologies for misgendering them. We have not released that at this point, and we are unable to confirm the authenticity of what has been released, although we are looking into that at this very moment. This is according to a spokesman for Metro Nashville Police Department. Similarly, a spokesperson for the police department told the Tennessee Star on Monday that I have no idea what that is, and at this point in time, I don't think we know what that's all about. When asked about the manifesto allegedly written by the 28-year-old Audrey Hill. So it was Aiden Hill. I know trans men exist. I'm sorry. I might have a crush on one. Her name might be Soup. I might want a bowl of soup. In March, no, actually, this is completely off topic. But this is one of the things, and I explained this to my buddy last night. So I was with a trans man one time. I hooked up with a trans man. And, that's how I know I'm more attracted to people on the feminine side of the spectrum. So hooking up with a trans man is how it really crystallized to me that a trans man is a man. Because I had a difficult time being attracted to them and getting into the kinky time. Whereas a trans woman feels like a woman in your arms. You can tell they're a woman. You can tell a trans man's a man. And that's why I try not to fetishize trans people, even though I am attracted to them. Because I've also seen them as a person, right? A lot of people's relationship to the trans community comes from pornography, and that's an issue. A lot of people don't know a trans person. I'm completely off topic now. I don't even know what I was trying to say. But anyway, I'm sorry to misidentify this for even if I condemn their actions.
Be condemned.
You know what I always say? I quit saying it. I used to actually say the phrase. I quit saying that. I'm afraid of YouTube coming after me. Spokesperson for the police department told the Tennessee Star on Monday that they have no idea what that is, and at this point in time, I don't think we know what that's about. When asked about the manifesto allegedly written by 28-year-old Hell. In March, Hell was identified as the suspect who fatally shot 6 individuals, including 3 children at the Covenant School in Nashville. Hell died at the scene, and police said that they recovered a writing belonging to the shooter following the incident. I have 1 bowl left, and I'm smoking it after I get off stream. I'm not high enough for this shit. Smoked some res earlier. Is there still some in my bong here? A little bit, maybe a little buzz. I can't wait to smoke that bowl. As I said, I was planning on being like an hour and out, but nope. Goldfish, it was fantastic having you here. Since you're not going to be here for the end of the show, go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. We'll see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is election night. Election coverage, and then Wednesday is the GOP presidential primary debate. Yes, if you are in Ohio, get out and vote. If you are in Kentucky, get out and vote. If you are in Virginia, get out and vote. 3 incredibly important elections that we're going to be covering tomorrow, and I'm sure some others will pop up. Monday morning, Steven Crowder posted a video to YouTube saying that a manifesto allegedly written by Hill had been leaked, and he was sharing sections of it on his channel. In response to law enforcement officials declining to confirm the manifesto, Crowder told Newsweek, "We stand by our reporting." Do we actually have the video? No, we don't. I grabbed that. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say what the shooter said. Kind of like when I didn't want to read the Hamas. Totally using this for clout. My God. The amount of posting he did about this today. You fucking sick fuck.
Go to jail to protect the sources, and that we'll go to jail. We mean it. I gotta tell you, like, this is what we live for, right? And there are a lot of people out there who
slandering the trans community. Yes, that is absolutely what you live for. I have no doubt in my mind.
Who are in this game, and I was, I obviously I went down to, I was around a group of those people, and you can tell very quickly the people who are really and truly committed to what they are doing, because it comes at a cost. Right? It's not that there's just some fame wagon that they can jump on and go to. And it's not that everybody who has made their way through it a little bit without getting hit with some of the barbs is necessarily someone you shouldn't trust. But there's a cost to doing this. There's a cost for us to go out and kind of stand on our principles and our values. And it has cost us greatly over the years to do that. And I want you to know, Mug Club, like, this is the kind of stuff we want to do. We want to affect change in every single part of this process. So that's why we get so excited about days like today, even though it's a somber story, right? We get excited because we're like, okay, maybe this will be the thing that makes the rest of the document or the manifesto come out. And maybe...
I do want to point out that the reason it hadn't been released is the families. The families didn't want it released. The local news station, is it NBC5? Phil Williams, we've covered it. Phil Williams is in court trying to fight to get it released. According to Phil Williams, the sections that Steven Crowder released paint a picture that is not conclusive. That they focused on calling white people crackers.
More people will be emboldened by this so that they'll go and release that information so that you can have access to it and you can understand a little bit more about what's going on. This is what gets us up in the morning. We love it. And it's all because of you guys. Like the
And here's the thing, when he went on his crusade against, we didn't even get the clip. When he went on his crusade against the Daily Wire and said, I want to start my own organization. I don't care if you're on the left or the right, blah, 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 blah. I sent him an email. I was like, okay, you don't care if you're on the left or the right. I want to join with you. If you're all about free speech, if you stand behind it, I want to join with you. I want to come on and be a part of your network. Did I get invited on? No, I did not. It's the Hodge twins. It's Alex Jones. All right-wing assholes. The collective writings by Hell found in her vehicle in the shooting in the school parking lot, and others later found in the bedroom of her home. His home? I'm going with they. They documented in journals they're planning over a period of months to commit mass murder at the Covenant School, which is weird because they actually tried to shoot up a mall first. Police also previously confirmed that Hill identified as a transgender individual. Earlier this month, Tennessee Rep. John Rose issued a statement calling on the Nashville Police Department to release further information about Hill. Nashvillians Nashvillians. And Tennesseans deserve greater transparency and responsiveness on the issue that so deeply affects our community. Chief of Nashville Police John Drake has completely ignored my reasonable request for more information regarding the evidence seized in the Covenant School shooting. This lack of cooperation is leaving those of us in positions of leadership in the dark without critical insights that may be helpful as we discuss policy and solutions that may prevent future tragedies. Hey, buddy, you want to prevent future tragedies? Do something about the guns. PB Girl, good evening. You know what? Let me check. Let me see if Phil Williams has done a story. He was all over this on Twitter. Phil Williams, as you guys might know from, he even has the John Oliver picture up on his Twitter. Yeah, they did reporting probably a couple of hours ago. John Oliver calling him the noisiest bitch in Nashville. Let's get the lowdown from Phil.
Extremely difficult for the students and staff who experienced the shooting. One Covenant parent reiterating today that he and other families believe nothing good will come out of releasing the writings. Our Hannah McDonald talked with him.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Hannah.
Tries to put this surprising leak into context.
Heinous and evil were just two of the words a Covenant father used today to describe the text in the shooter's writings that were released today without warning. In a very emotional press conference this afternoon, Dad Brent Leatherwood said exacerbating trauma is exactly what parents have been trying to stop from happening for months. And
certain sites don't do night mode.
In the State Court of Appeals, groups have debated for and against the public release of the shooter's notebooks and computer files. Parents argued releasing those documents would re-traumatize survivors. Today, ever since those three images were publicized by a talk show host, Leatherwood said he personally has been
not even gonna name him. Good.
This to the person in our community who leaked the writings.
You are a viper. You're a member of the law enforcement community. And you have released evidence that was gathered in our most vulnerable moment. You have now allowed this woman who terrorized our family with bullets to be able to now terrorize us with words from the grave.
Something that hit me this afternoon on an unusually warm, beautiful Monday was that it was also a Monday when this mass shooting happened at the Covenant School. And once again, someone else's decision has disoriented this community. Now, Leatherwood also shared with the media that he spoke to Metro police officers and TBI agents, and they assured him whoever released these images will be facing a felony. In Green Hills, Hannah McDonald, News Channel 5.
I do not doubt that it was a member of law enforcement. He seemed to think it was a member of law enforcement as well. I would bet it's a member of law enforcement that is a member of the Mug Club. Yes, it was the Hell Manifesto. I'm still confused. Apparently, it was a trans man. Newsweek identified them as female. I have reverted to using gender-neutral pronouns because I'm confused as to how they identified. Dead name is apt, isn't it? You know. because he's dead. That was horrible. That was horrible of me. Cancel Justin. Indeed. Honestly, it's disgusting. And it's amazing to me, all the people in Twitter being like, well, this is, the transing of the kids and this anti-white agenda is causing people to go out and shoot up places. While ignoring all of the mass shooters that are white cis males spouting right-wing propaganda. We had one just, 2 weeks ago, a week ago in Maine? I didn't mention it on this stream because I hadn't seen it from a reputable source, but apparently they were a right-wing nut job. I did not hear about that, Venus. Drop that in the Discord if you can. Now, did you hear about the 2 bodies that were just found in the middle of the street? Nobody knows fucking what the fuck is going on. This happened in Michigan, apparently.
We got a 911 call about 45 minutes ago of 2 individuals laying in the street with blood on their faces. Officers responded. What we have now is we have 2 deceased individuals. One of them is an adult. The other one we're trying to make a judgment on. We don't have identification. Working feverishly. We're looking to talk to any witnesses that we can. We've got a lot of detectives out here. A lot of police officers going door to door. If anybody has any video surveillance or any information on this, we have 2 dead bodies in the street, so we have an absolute tragedy.
Apparently there's another person. Someone else was fatally shot this afternoon within blocks of where a man and a woman were found dead earlier. God damn! It's all happened in Grand Rapids. I don't know if they're connected. When he said it happened 45 minutes ago, I was like, let me get an update.
On your side. And we want to get right to Chief Eric Winstrom from Grand Rapids Police to tell us.
Oh, fucking shit. Might not let me make it big. There it is.
On 13 on your side. And we want to get right to Chief Eric Winstrom from Grand Rapids Police to tell us about this breaking news happening.
Say something. We are looking for the public's help. We've had a lot of support from this community coming out. They want this place to be safe. There are a lot of kids. You see them behind me. A lot of kids here. We need these kids to be safe. When someone fires a handgun, those bullets, the capability of a stray bullet is mostly incomprehensible. It can go through car doors, it can go through literally house walls, it can kill innocent children. So we really need to all come together as a community, and we're going to be out here for the foreseeable future. This is going to be again a very long process with this crime scene. We're looking forward to bringing this shooter or shooters to justice as soon as possible. So any questions, I'm happy to take them if I can answer them.
Do we have anything as far as vehicle or suspect description right now?
Right now, not that I can share with you. We have a lot of help from the community. They're giving us various information.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like this is the same press conference. It doesn't look like there's been any new reporting since. 3 people dead in Grand Rapids. Just found 2 in the middle of the street. I believe this footage is going to be graphic, so a homeowner in Los Angeles faced off with an armed intruder.
Attempted home invasion caught on camera, but the unsuspecting homeowner winds up pulling a gun on his attackers. I'm Joy Rand.
I'm Michelle Fisher.
Whoa, dude, you ran after them. First of all, didn't look like you had a good grip on your gun. You have a dude, like when they retreat, you're not supposed to go after them and keep shooting. Jesus.
A homeowner speaking out about the frightening ordeal to Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay. She is live in Koreatown with that story for us tonight. Sophie.
Michelle, we spoke to the man who defended himself and his family after 2 intruders tried to enter his home. He wanted to remain anonymous because this is still an ongoing investigation. Terrifying surveillance video shows a masked intruder with a gun run up to this mid-city man about to walk in his front door. The homeowner pulls out his gun to defend himself, firing shots at the 2 intruders, quickly entering a shootout.
I guess they decided to try to come at me and come in the house, but I have a 5-month-old baby and a wife, nanny in the house, and that wasn't going to happen. There was nothing in my house that was worth dying for, but I was willing to die for my family.
The shootout happened Saturday night around 7:30. The homeowner walks to the front door, grabbing for his keys. 2 intruders jump the front gate. 1 intruder runs up to the front door. The mid-city man throws his tea, pulls out his gun, and starts shooting.
And I know where I felt someone run up behind me, put something to my back, and I put a pistol to my back, and somebody else running up.
When shots are fired, the intruders disperse. 1 fires back, scrambling to hop over the side fence. The other hops over the front gate and runs away. After the attack, the family filed a report with the LAPD Olympic Division.
It's a matter of time before these people are going to get caught. I think they should just pick a new career before they do end up in jail.
I'm going to assume by the maneuvers he took, he's an ex-law enforcement or he's an ex-military. Probably military. Wow.
We reached out to LAPD Olympic Division for more information about the suspects, but did not hear back. Live in Koreatown, Sophie Flay, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Hello, I'm Mark.
Oh, you think he is a cop? It's possible. I mean, he fired at him at almost point-blank range and didn't hit anybody. So that might indicate he's a cop and not military. In LA. So yesterday we did a story, quite possibly the wildest story I've ever covered, involving a tractor trailer. Until today, possibly. I don't know. We'll have to see which one's crazier. Yesterday, we watched a tractor trailer hit 33 cars in Utah. It was out of control, hit a car dealership, burst into flames. That was a lot of fun. Now we are going to see footage from a police chase involving a 18-wheeler that took place in Texas over the weekend. Apparently lasted over 2 hours.
And we're getting new details about the Florida man accused of leading police on a 2-hour chase.
The Florida man. Do we have a story that involves Florida tonight? Yes, we do. Multiple. It's always fucking Florida.
Through Houston in his big rig. Tonight, investigators confirm they finished their search of that semi. ABC 13's Daniela Hurtado is live tonight with new details she got from investigators. Daniela.
Tom, police tonight telling us during that search they found 2 loaded magazines, a gun holder, but no weapon. As we learn more information about what unfolded here yesterday, we are in the same area where law enforcement say that 18-wheeler illegally did a U-turn on the freeway onto oncoming traffic. Tonight, police are telling us they believe there were at least 4 crashes connected to the pursuit of this big rig. Thankfully, though, no major injuries.
We're going under Mortgage Freeway.
Tonight, police in Roman Forest are working to uncover why a man from Florida in a semi led them on a highway pursuit from Montgomery County to Fort Bend County. 51
They went on the back roads?
Lebowski is accused of speeding into areas of Houston.
Lebowski? Did somebody steal his rug?
Tonight, police in Roman Forest are working to uncover why a man from Florida in a semi led them on a highway pursuit from Montgomery County to Fort Bend County. 51-year-old Christopher John Lebowski is accused of speeding into areas of Houston, like the medical center, into oncoming traffic.
We're coming down the freeway, and we have this truck that's rolling down 75 miles an hour with the cab shaking left and right. Multiple police cars behind it with lights and sirens.
Tonight, police tell ABC 13 they believe Lebowski was rocking the steering wheel, causing the cab to rock. The suspect, however, is accused of telling police he didn't know it was even rocking.
We were trying to just talk to him to figure out what was going on, because everybody always wants to know why. And so we really just wanted to understand what was going through his mind. And he did not want to talk to us at all. He wouldn't say a word. So we couldn't get anything out of him.
Police say they don't believe Lebowski has a criminal history. He's charged with evading and possession of a controlled substance, and police confirm no more charges are expected at this time. We're told he is expected to be seen before a judge tomorrow.
Just evading?
13 Eyewitness News.
What drug? What drug was it? I gotta know. That's his mugshot there. I was expecting a link to the local news station. I want to know what drugs he had on him. In possession of a controlled substance, that could be numerous things. I'm not even seeing the story on the front page. Ah, shit. Apparently he does have a criminal history. So maybe this is the update after his bond hearing and shit. So let's get this one.
Case of an 18-wheeler through Montgomery, Waller, Harris, and Fort Bend counties shocked and endangered many this weekend. Today, the suspect in the case made his first appearance in court. ABC 13's Shannon Ryan found out law enforcement believes that drug may be at play in this case.
They do, and that's because law enforcement tell us they found meth inside his truck. The driver, 51-year-old Christopher Lebowski, is now being held on a $150,000 bond for that and for taking police on a chase. During that chase, police say he caused a number of crashes.
Is it just me, or does this woman look like Adele on meth?
Many of which they're still investigating.
It was like something out of a movie. It truly was like something out of a movie.
Police dashboard camera captures the moment the driver of an 18-wheeler taking law enforcement on a 4-county chase hooked a U-turn on busy US 59 near Wesleyan. Staring at the other end of it, Amy Johnston in her Jeep.
And it is a massive, massive truck. It's not as though this is a pickup. When I looked up and saw it, this is an 80,000-pound 18-wheeler, and it's driving erratically, like it was wobbling back and forth. And in that moment, I thought, I'm going to die. I'm going to get hit on.
What kind of necklace is she wearing that they blurred it out? A family member or something that might have passed away, or does she have like a Free Palestine necklace on?
Hit head on.
Law enforcement believe the truck driver, 51-year-old Christopher Lebowski, was wiggling the steering wheel, telling us they found meth inside his vehicle and a urine kit they believe is used to pass drug tests.
I think that it was obvious that this gentleman had to have been on something by the way that he was driving and by the way he had no intention.
My father was a truck driver, but he came up in the 80s, so he was doing coke.
Of maneuvering that truck out of harm's way. There was no slowing down. He was barreling towards us.
At the last moment, an exit opened up, and Johnston was able to swerve out of the way.
That, to me, was a divine intervention.
Texas Southern senior Faith McDowell.
I love hot moms.
But God that had us in that car.
She also had to swerve from Lebowski. During the chaos, Johnston hit the sedan she and a friend were riding in.
When the car jerked out the way, he braced me and I braced him, and we were just like, oh my gosh, and we were just hugging the wall, and I'm trying to just like not panic, trying to like not make the wheel, because the wheel just started spinning, because I'm like, oh, I don't really know. I'm trying to like, I'm in a moment like, oh man, like I don't know what to do. And then the car ended up stopping, And then after that, I just called my mom, just started crying.
Lebowski would go on to drive through Ford.
Is your mom hot?
Where DPS shot out his tires in Fulshire. The chase lasting more than 2.5 hours in all.
The fact that nobody else was seriously harmed or injured, considering the way he was driving and his behavior, it truly is miraculous. Life is precious.
And today in court, we learned that Lebowski has out-of-state drug charges. He works for a trucking company out of Michigan. We also learned that his boss is no longer with the company. Another employee told us that's due to stress. Off of 59, Shannon Ryan, ABC 13.
2 days in a row, crazy 18-wheeler video. And 2 days in a row, what's amazing, no one was hurt. Holy shit. Especially yesterday, hit 33 cars, burst into flames when it hit a car dealership. Not even the driver was injured. Apparently, like, he walked away from the crash. Oh. Mom and her son are apparently lucky to have walked away from this crash because a man, the cops were not doing their job. A man comes to help save a mom and her son from a burning car in Rome, Georgia.
Cops and Good Samaritans rushed to help a mother and her son who were trapped in a car that became engulfed in flames. It happened in Rome, Georgia. An officer was assisting in a traffic stop when he heard the crash at a nearby intersection and ran toward the scene. He started breaking the windows of the vehicle and heard the
"Thank you, cop!"
for help.
Open the door!
2 Good Samaritans helped out the officer in cutting away the airbags. Time was not on their side as fire was starting to take over the vehicle. Within seconds,
Dispatch, the car is almost fully engulfed. We got everybody out of it.
officials say the driver was taken to the hospital with a leg injury and will need surgery.
Like, that doesn't happen very often. Like, the cops doing what they're supposed to. Yeah, a good cop moment. Very rare. But I will give them props. Thank you, cop, for rushing. I'm amazed you didn't keep fucking with the person you were fucking with.
Ran toward the scene. He started breaking the windows of the vehicle and heard the occupants pleading for help.
Open the door!
2 Good Samaritans helped out the officer in cutting away the airbags. Time was not on their side as fire was starting to take over the vehicle. Within seconds,
Dispatch, the car is almost fully engulfed. We got everybody out of it.
officials say the driver was taken to the hospital with a leg injury and will need surgery, but the child was cleared by medical professionals to go home. A good outcome because of quick-acting neighbors helping one another.
Fucking wow. All right, let's get a couple of lighter stories in before we get the fuck out of here. On what was supposed to be a short show, because we're probably going to go long tomorrow night and Wednesday night. A Florida roofing company is giving away a free turkey, an AR-15 with roof purchase. Part of a Thanksgiving special. The company's president said customers must pass a background check and can't have any felonies. The owners of Roof Easy just announced they think you should have hired, instead of giving away a gun, would you hired a marketing company to come up with a better name? Roof Easy? Was Easy Roof taken? This is in Southwest Florida. If you purchase a roof during the month of November, not only will you get a free frozen turkey, but you'll also get a free AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. The turkey will get you all sitting at the table so you can spend time together. The roof will protect your home, and the AR-15 will protect your family. It's according to Jason Polly. The roof is expensive. The package deal that Pauly thought couldn't be any better for his customers this Thanksgiving. I actually saw this idea. A company actually did it in Alabama. I figured, hey, we're in Florida. It's the most Florida thing you can do. Let's do it. I don't know about the most Florida thing you could do. Maybe give away some crocodile or some shit with it. Of all the weird and wacky things imaginable to throw into their roof and gobble special, why did he choose a semi-automatic rifle? Everybody needs an AR-15, Pauly said. The world's a crazy place right now, and they can get a roof and an AR-15 for protection on both ends. Why not? The world is a crazy place, so why not give all these crazy people more fucking guns? Is it enough to convince some Floridians to hire his company? It depends on who you ask. No, I don't think so, said Buddy Rousey. It's a good idea. Everyone should have one. It's all right, said James Robertson. You want to tickle my fancy? Give me a $20,000 boat for my $20,000 roof. The Roof Easy team isn't just driving around Southwest Florida with a cooler full of frozen turkeys and a small armory in the trunk. If you want in on the deal, you have to go through the same steps as if you were actually purchasing a firearm. You got to get a background check. Can't have any felonies. Once you pass the background check, you can go pick it up in 3 days. If they don't want the AR-15, we'll give them $500 off their roof. That's how much the AR-15 is worth. We've already got 5 to 8 customers ready to go on November 1st. Probably more like 5 to 6 because 2 of them shot themselves before we even got to November. Staying in Florida, for some reason it was taking a little bit to load up the video. We're going to a thrift store in Florida.
When you walk into a thrift store like this one, you can expect to find some pretty crazy items. But the craziest one was a human skull that was found right here.
We do find the cremation remains. We find just weird stuff, but the skull was definitely the most unusual.
Beth Meyer comes across all kinds of cool finds while working at Paradise Vintage Market, but she says finding a human skull is a new find.
It was a surreal experience.
Meyer displayed the skull in early October for Halloween, but yesterday a shopper immediately knew what it was.
She was an anthropologist, and so she called the Lee County Sheriff's Office and said, "There's a human skull in this antique mall."
It all started when Brian Copeland, who's partners with Meyer, found it in a storage locker they were hired to clean out.
People ask what's the strangest thing I've ever found in a locker. I can honestly say a human skull.
Copeland tells me it's totally different to see a human skull on TV versus holding one in real life.
You come up and see it for real, that it's in your hands. It's pretty surreal.
LCSO says their detectives went to the store and recovered the skull. Now it's in the hands of the medical examiner's office for testing.
We're hoping that they can determine age, gender, maybe even nationality.
The Lee County Sheriff's Office says the skull isn't being considered suspicious. I'm local in North Fort Myers, Sarah Mankiewicz, NBC2.
So I'm assuming if it's not considered suspicious, it might have been in a museum, stolen artifact, grave robbery, something of that like. That is some real Fourth Florida shit. They didn't know, right? They didn't know it was a real skull. They thought it was like a decoration for Halloween. Do we have any football fans out here? Anybody into the sporty ball? So apparently, this happened at the Texas Tech TCU game. I don't know what TCU is. Apparently, they had somebody who was getting a little too rowdy, and they had to carry them off the field.
An opossum on the field about the 15-yard line. He was not happy about being escorted out of the stadium.
I'm glad that guy had that stick with the thing on.
An opossum.
That guy had that stick with the thing on it. That we just happened to have. He paid his money. Let him stay and watch the game. God damn it. Let me tell you, possums are the cutest fucking things. Until they open their mouths. And that's on purpose. That scares away prey. They are adorable creatures.
Had that stick with the thing on.
An opossum on the field about the 15-yard line. He was not happy about being escorted out of the stadium.
I feel like I'm seeing spittle come out of its mouth. Texas Christian University. Thank you, clinically.
An opossum on the field about the 15-yard line.
Love it. Love that opossum. Probably shouldn't cuddle it. He is. You can see all the spit coming out of his mouth as he's being dragged. Oh, the stick. I thought you meant the opossum. I was like, wait a minute, it's real easy to make an opossum? Well, when a mommy opossum and a daddy opossum love each other, the stick is called a snare. With a slip knot. We should nights in a row of just